Welcome to Trackhouse Motorplex. For those of you in the paddock and for those of you tuning in live around the world, it is time for main event action at the IAME USA Grand National Championship, the third running of this fantastic event. The heats have been run, the pre-finals have been run, main events are all that's left, and we're about to kick things off as the engines come to life for the micro slips here, leaving the grid now.
The micro slips out on track now, and for this weekend it has been all Parker Ives. Parker Ives with a very good set of races. Maxwell Macha up there as well. Colton Schniegenberg has been in the fight there in the mix, but cannot get it done thus far. It's going to be all to play for here, Xander.
Yeah, we'll see who is able to get the good jump off the line. That'll be the biggest key here to start this one, is what kind of initial start you can make here as the field makes their way out. Let's go through our starting lineup for our micro slips. It's 20 laps on the leaderboard for the likes of Parker Ives and the red and white Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart, and the rest of your field. He'll be joined by the number 17 Team GWR Energy of Colton Schniegenberg. Maxwell Macha had a great pre-final in the SLA Kart Racing Black and Orange Sodi Kart. He'll line up in the third spot there on the inside of row number 2. Cade Wolf and the number 54 blue and yellow Timmy Tech Comp Kart will start again alongside him on row number 2. And then you go back to row 3. It'll be that black and yellow Zanella Racing Bennick of Gavin Decay. The number 75 is joined on that third row by the number 51 red and white Beer Art of Tanner Barsh. Row 4 has the number 55 of Zane Burgess starting on the inside in 7th. To the outside will be Lawrence Perriman in the number 28 BJR MDR LN Kart. Rounding off the rest of the field, you have Sterling Mulata on the number 7 white and orange Kart Republic. William Roberts will start on the outside of him in row 5 and 10th on the BJR MDR LN Kart. Then it'll be Ryder Sutton and Liam Sutton. Parker Stewart and Danny Ramirez will make up the grid as the field slowly makes its way around the final couple of corners, and we get set for 20 laps of main event racing here from Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Thank you to everyone for joining us and all of you that have tuned in all weekend long here. This is, of course, live to the exclusively to KC Premium members. As Parker Ives rounds that final turn, he'll make his way down the front stretch nice and slow. These kids were a little bit overzealous at the first attempt to try and go green. Let's see if the second try of the day, first attempt for the main event, will be good. It looks decent right now. You just got to be patient. Wait till that start box till you fire off, boys and girls. It looks good. It is good. We're racing down to turn number 1, and Parker Ives will lead our field up the hill to turn 3. Side by side for second. Schniegenberg holds off Macha as they go down the back straightaway.
Yeah, what a start by Colton Schniegenberg, moving that Energy Kart up in a P2 at the moment, but what a start by Parker Ives. I mean, we've seen it all weekend long, Xander. Parker Ives has been able to get it done from the start, starting almost every single time on that inside row.
Yeah, he's been able to at least have good starts, but that pre-final was definitely lacking in speed for that blue and red number 17. So let's see if he decides to try and go one spot higher than where he did in the pre-final. He cruised in second for a good part of it until eventually both Maxwell Macha and Cade Wolf decided to go around him. Also a good start, by the way, for the number 75 Zanella Racing Bennick of Gavin Decay, who was not at all in that lead pack in the pre-main. He's better here in fourth with a little help from Cade Wolf coming out the front stretch now. Let's see. Anyone with a big run at turn 1? Schniegenberg edging low, looking low. Not going to go, but Cade Wolf will for fourth. Cade Wolf to the inside and clear on Gavin Decay in the opening corner.
Yeah, what a move by Cade Wolf to move his Timmy Tech Comp Kart up in a P4 at the moment. And now Colton Schniegenberg and Parker Ives going down into turn number 4. Parker Ives Colton Schniegenberg down the inside of Parker Ives, and Maxwell Macha gets through as well on Parker Ives. Parker Ives moves down to P3.
Can you believe it here, folks? We've got a 5-car lead train to kick things off in Micro Swift. Maxwell Macha right before said it's a great thing it's 20 laps. That means I can push away. Well, he's going to need the rest of the group to battle for third if he wants that opportunity to come to fruition, as a big bobble from Cade Wolf going wide in turn number 8. But a little bit of that's to be expected. With the longest session these kids have run all weekend, it's probably the most out of range their tire pressures will be all weekend in these opening couple of laps, trying to make sure they don't burn them up in the first couple circuits around, and they've still got a lot of juice in the tank when we get to those 5-6 lap to go shootouts that we're so accustomed to seeing, as now Macha's the next one to make a mistake. He blows the corner in turn 1, and Parker Ives gets right to the bumper with Wolf behind. I think he may go this time. No, he'll give Macha the opportunity. Maxwell Macha to the lead in turn 4.
What a move by Maxwell Macha, and Parker Ives deciding to push Maxwell Macha through as well. And now Colton Schniegenberg and Parker Ives side by side, and Colton Schniegenberg is able to get the move done on Parker Ives. Colton Schniegenberg still in P2. Maxwell Macha in the lead of this race. And beforehand here, I was talking to Colton Schniegenberg here a little bit before the race. The kid from Dallas, obviously me being a Texas native as well myself. Colton Schniegenberg seemed so composed. He knew what he wanted to do, and he knows what he has to do here in this race.
Well, you and I both watched Colton Schniegenberg last weekend in Pittsburgh finally get the monkey off his back and get his first career national win in Micro Swift. Now he's trying to make 2 wins in 8 days. Out of turn number 11, a little wide for Schniegenberg compared to the rest. A little wide as well for Parker Ives as they use and abuse that runoff space that's been given here on Championship Sunday out of turn number 11. That barrier was a lot closer earlier in this weekend. In fact, it nagged guys in practice, Caleb. But now with that barrier removed, we're seeing differing lines of how much runoff to take because a lot of drivers don't know how much the risk reward is. How much of a benefit is it to send it through 11, but you have to quickly get back on the racetrack to use that extra space.
Yeah, of course, and obviously there are some rumble strips there at the end of 11. So, I mean, that could be also time altering for them. It could slow them down here a little bit. We obviously haven't seen much of it this weekend, but here on your screen, Maxwell Macha loses his way as I think Parker Ives gave a little love tap there to Colton Schniegenberg as he gets a little bit out of a shape into turn 8.
Parker Ives looked so confident early on in that pre-final. I didn't think anyone was going to be able to hang with him, but the Maxwell Macha Sodi Kart machine did. Now Parker's setting up Schniegenberg high, then low, inside, turn 11. They're going to bang tires. Not clear. That's the downside again. Not only do the drivers not know, as Cade Wolf goes by, is it faster to use more runoff than what was originally allowed? They also don't know how deep they've got to brake to get clear. Because that guy on the outside now, he releases the brake. He's got extra space on the outside, and he can do exactly what Schniegenberg just did. With that barrier there, Colton's going to back out. He's going to tuck in. But without the barrier in turn 11, he has more space to run. He powers up, throttles up, and holds on to second.
Yeah, if I was put in that position as well as a racer myself, I would keep my foot on the gas and pretty much try to bully my way through. As now, Cade Wolf, a move on Parker Ives. They're putting Cade Wolf up in a P3, and now he's going to have his sights set on that 17 card of Colton Schniegenberg.
So as they head to turn number 9, Maxwell Macha continues to show the way on that black and orange SLA Kart Racing Sodi. Look at the run for Cade Wolf to Colton Schniegenberg's bumper. He'll follow him into 11. I think for the micros, there may be a little more timid, and less tenacity going through 11 to make a move. But if you can get the run there, you get a big slingshot effect down to turn 1. As right now, the way the wind's blowing is hard to gauge, but it looks like, if anything, it might be a bit of a headwind down the backstretch and a tailwind on the front straightaway. And we're seeing the headwind potentially make the difference. Schniegenberg on the inside. Wolf will follow. Macha back to third as Ives follows along in fourth. And slowly just losing a little bit of touch to the top 4 is Gavin Decay. But look at the kid coming on strong in 6th. How about it for Zane Burgess in the number 55? He was not a part of this lead group earlier. He's almost there as well. Yeah, Zane Burgess has been peeking up into the top 5 all weekend long, but hasn't quite been able to break it and really hang with them. But here, the more they fight, the more that Zane Burgess, is working his way up, and he seems really composed as Cade Wolf down the inside on Colton Schniegenberg, and they keep shuffling for position. And now Colton Schniegenberg trying to size up a move down the inside, not going to be able to get it done into turn 1. Great racing here to kick off the Micro Swift main event. Again, folks, we're only 6 laps in. It's a 20-lap final down the backstretch for Cade as he leads the way into turn number 4. Schniegenberg not going to go back on him for now. He'll stay tucked up behind as they go through the corner. And again, Gavin Decay and Zane Burgess get new life with every pass made for the lead to keep them in the tow of the top 4 and learn. They've getting more and more time to follow the leaders and adjust their lines as Schniegenberg, that was a little bit awkward. He pulled out a line really early out of 7, pulls out again out of 8. Now he's in a bad spot because Macha's almost able to get alongside him, but luckily he gets a brake cut for him and he holds on to second. Yeah, and it seems like Cade Wolf got a little bit there out of shape on the exit at the hairpin of turn 8, as now Colton Schniegenberg on the inside of Cade Wolf. And like you were saying, it seems like Cade Wolf wanted to hang it around on the outside, but the barrier's not there. And it seems like he did lift off a little bit to let Colton Schniegenberg through, but now they are still going at it into turn 3. Cade Wolf down the inside on Colton Schniegenberg, through and clear, and Maxwell Macha is going to follow him through, and so is Parker Ives. It has all shuffled here, Xander. And side by side behind them as well. Look at Zane Burgess getting by on Gavin Decay for 5th. So a big 6-way battle, but a great point, Caleb. Cade Wolf probably tried to hold the outside. could not, because Colton Schneegenberg sent it again. Not only is it different for the guy on the outside, it's different as well for the passing car. He's got to brake a lot later and carry more speed to get clear also, as Decay and Burgess collide for 5th. No change in turn 8, and the leaders now get a little bit further up the road. Let's see, does Maxwell Macho want to push Cade Wolf? Does he want to go? What does Parker Ives want to do? Nobody will pass in 11. We'll put 8 laps complete, 12 laps to go. Cade Wolf on the Timmy Tech Comp Cart leads the way down to turn number 1.
Yeah, what a drive by Cade Wolf so far. And I mean, during the heat races, me and Alex saw a lot of working together, a lot of drafting, but it seems like they're leaving nothing on the table here at the moment, and they are all wanting to go to the front, as I think now Maxwell Macha and Parker Ives sizing up a move on Cade Wolf, and they are going to get it done. They are now both clear. Maxwell Macha up into first, Parker Ives in second, and Cade Wolf falls back to third.
Yeah, Cade Wolf will lock back into line. That pass for the lead will bring 5th and 6th back into it, and even bring 4th a little bit, as Schneegenberg was kind of lagging back this last lap or so. So the musical chairs for the lead continues. Maxwell Macha right now holds the hot seat, as Parker Ives, surprisingly enough, hasn't been too aggressive to go back to the lead. He's just kind of rode in this group. I've been waiting to see when the number 48 wants to go back to the point, because he's led the most laps all weekend, and he, of course, won that Fast 5 shootout. You would think he'd maybe want to command this train, but for now, he seems fine riding in the middle of it, as we're still very early on here in this main. 11 laps to go, still only 9 complete as they rocket down the back straightaway.
Now Parker Ives once again down the inside on Maxwell Macha. Cade Wolf's going to try to follow Parker Ives through, but cannot get it done. Now Colton Schneegenberg trying to size up a move on the inside. Can't do it. And right behind Schneegenberg is Zane Burgess. Zane Burgess is up at P5 at the moment. He was able to get around Gavin Decay.
Yeah, Zane Burgess there right on the bumper of Colton Schneegenberg on that black and orange Sodi kart for PK Sport North America. Cade Wolf still struggling a little bit out of the hairpin, but he looked pretty good there coming out of turn 9 compared to Colton Schneegenberg, and probably even to the top 2 drivers. Parker Ives will lead the Ives Racing Nitro card for Ryan Perry Motorsport to the halfway mark. 10 in, 10 to go for the field, as Zane Burgess wants 4th. Trying inside, not enough steam. He'll run out and stay back 5th there. Schneegenberg holds.
Yeah, a little bit of a half move there by Burgess on Colton Schneegenberg. And then Xander, I'm wondering here if Zane Burgess is going to lose any time to the guys up ahead, as Colton Schneegenberg is trying to pull away a little bit here from Zane Burgess. But at the moment, that gap is at 2 car lengths in between Colton Schneegenberg and Zane Burgess. Has a much better exit out of the bowl and is all over the rear end here of Colton Schneegenberg, as Colton Schneegenberg is trying to chase down Cade Wolf as well as Maxwell Macha with Parker Ives.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they stay within about 2 car lengths right now, even going back as far as 4, the draft will kind of pull them back up with the extra wins here today. You heard that even in the senior guys, expecting a full pack race in KA Senior and X30 Pro. For the micros, it's normally that way. Now it's a magnified version, so those mistakes can normally get caught up, especially when you've got one behind you, like Burgess did. Now, Gavin Decay, he's got no one behind. He made a mistake, and you can see now we're down to 5 cars on the screen, and unfortunately, Gavin Decay is outside the drafting window now with just a couple of laps in the second half of this main, all the way back there for that black and yellow Zanella Racing Bennick. Through turn 4, though, Parker Ives now leading the race, at least at a point where Macha seems happy to follow him. They were running 54.8s that time. It was a 55.4 for Gavin Decay with a big mistake, and I think that might be all she wrote for the Zanella Racing Bennick. Without some major carnage up at the front, a 2.5 back and growing for Gavin Decay.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen the quality that Parker Ives, Maxwell Macha, Cade Wolf, and Colton Schneegenberg have brought to the table all year long, as they have been pretty much the top 5 guys in our national races across the years. We've seen Parker Ives in the Stars Championship Series. He has been almost absolutely perfect, as well as Colton Schneegenberg over in Texas. The kid from Texas has also challenged Parker Ives a lot this weekend, and now Maxwell Macha on the rear end of Parker Ives, trying to do whatever he can to maybe try to get ahead of Parker Ives.
Oh, no! Schneegenberg slams the barriers! Colton Schneegenberg tried to stay alongside or maybe just get clear on Zane Burgess, who went by for 4th, and the young kid is stuck in the grass. Colton Schneegenberg is out of the final in Micro Swift with a heavy contact with the outside barrier in turn number 2. Here come your leaders to the infield. Burgess was trying to go by for a number of laps, and I was just about to say what a good job he'd been doing, but the contact has taken him out of the lead group, and it has ended Colton Schneegenberg's afternoon.
Yeah, the commentator's curse strikes again for Colton Schniegenberg. Definitely not what you want to see for Colton Schniegenberg, who was potentially fighting for the win of this race, as he was in fourth here at the moment. But now, as it stands, it's going to be a three-cart battle all the way to the end. Parker Ives, Maxwell Macha taps the back of the helmet, tells Cade Wolf in that Timmy Tech comp cart. So let's go. Let's try to chase down Parker Ives here.
Well, Maxwell Macha and Parker Ives, like you said, they've been going head-to-head all year long, it feels like. Cade Wolf's been getting closer and closer on his limited national schedule. And home turf for the kid in the number 54 Timmy Tech comp cart. He obviously looks really well here this weekend. So if he can get there, he can maybe make some noise. He's a car length back. He's well within the toe. It's just a matter of where do you want to be on the final lap. Now down to 3. The guy in third's in a pretty good spot if the leader blocks really heavy. We saw that in that KA Senior pre-final earlier today when, of course, everybody went low, and then Turney went to the high side. Cruz let off the brake to go chase him, and then third place at the center of the apex was Brandon Lemke. He over-undered both of them. So if Parker Ives goes low to block, if Maxwell Macha challenges him on the brakes and goes around the outside, they'll both wash out wide as they try to outbrake each other, and it could open the floodgates for Cade Wolf to break through and get a big-time win.
Yeah, it seems like Cade Wolf is always there when it matters most. He has been there to pick up the leftovers from Parker Ives. In the past, it's been Colton Schniegenberg, but obviously Colton Schniegenberg with an unfortunate hit with the barriers is out of this race. But now, as it stands, Maxwell Macha all over, breathing down Parker Ives' neck. And I think Parker Ives knows it. Maxwell Macha giving Parker Ives a little bit of a lap tap there in between 8, but cannot get it done here. Coming into turn number 8, Maxwell Macha, a little bit of a gap opens up for Parker Ives, as Parker Ives is going to try to keep it clean here. He knows what he has to do, and Maxwell Macha, what a drive out of turn number 8.
Yeah, Cade Wolf on the flip side, not the best exit out of the hairpin. We're going to come to 5 to go this time by. Parker Ives and Maxwell Macha have been in this spot many times before this season on the national stage. Cade Wolf's been in this spot plenty of times at this racetrack and is getting more and more there into the national conversation. But it would, I think, be even more so out of the 3 meaningful if Cade Wolf could put one over on the 2 winningest kids in the micro category in 2023, Parker Ives and Maxwell Macha. Into turn 4, Macha just waiting. He's just praying right now for a mistake or 2 from Cade Wolf to drop him off the end of the train. And that's why you're seeing hardly any daylight between first and second in that red and white nitro kart for Ryan Perry Motorsport of Parker Ives and that black and orange SLA Car Racing Sodi kart of Maxwell Macha. Macha is trying to keep it at a 2 or bring it to a 2-kart race. A little bobble again for Wolf out of 8. If Macha can really get a good turn 9 and push Parker Ives, he could maybe open the window to break away. But he needs Ives to hit his marks, and he needs to do the same, and they've got to be glued together. 4 to go. Big run through 11. Big slide for Cade Wolf to try and drive it in deep and make up the gap. It opens to 2 car lengths down by turn 1, though.
Yeah, it seems like Parker Ives is a little bit quicker down the straights than Maxwell Macha, and Maxwell Macha has such a good drive out of every single low-speed corners. But now Maxwell Macha all over the rear end of Parker Ives. Is he going to try to make a move down into turn number 4? He does not. Decides to wait. Pretty smart by Maxwell Macha, but now he has brought Cade Wolf right back into play, as Cade Wolf is still in drafting range in between Maxwell Macha and Parker Ives. And very much if Maxwell Macha, I obviously don't want to curse these 2 guys, but if Maxwell Macha and Parker Ives do come together, Cade Wolf is going to be there to pick up the leftovers.
Again, I think third place is in a good spot to be in on this final lap. First place, granted, controls the whole thing. Again, Cade Wolf with the gearing or whatever, the setup, the driving, the only weak point he's really got is coming out of that infield hairpin. Macha's pretty decent out of there, and then like you said, he's able to really get to the bumper of Parker down the back straightaway every time. So that's going to force Parker to start low lining on the backstretch into 4, but you know, if this was the final lap, for example, Parker Ives could take his normal line through turn number 1 and wouldn't be phased at all. So for Parker Ives, that's stuff to note and stuff that these young drivers, even at 7 to 10 years old, notice whether or not they're getting pushed at different parts of the racetrack. And even when you're not turning around, you basically got eyes in the back of your head to know, okay, he wasn't on me the last few laps. I think in this section, I don't need to defend. If I'm feeling a push on the straightaway going into a corner right now, I know that I need to defend in that section come the final 2 laps. For example, right here, turn 8, he pulls away out of turn 6 every time. He could probably do the normal line on the final lap and be good. I think he definitely looks to be the strongest of the 3. The only place Macha's been anywhere close is in the run from 3 to 4, and that's one of the easiest corners to block because you've got the banking. So as they come up the hill to 11, this time by 2 laps to go, Parker Ives, I don't know if you'll see him edge down. There he goes. He checks the gap back, says, yeah, I'm safe. normal line in turn number 1 for Parker Ives.
Yeah, and Parker Ives seems to be extending that lead ever so slightly by the second. Maxwell Macha obviously trying to stick with Parker Ives here. Like Xander was saying, into turn 3 and 4, it seems like Maxwell Macha closes that gap a little bit, but obviously it is not enough for Maxwell Macha to make a move on Parker Ives and Cade Wolf. If you're Cade Wolf, when are you going to go? You're obviously seeing that Maxwell Macha isn't close enough to Parker Ives to really make a move, and now you see here again on the infield, Maxwell Macha getting a little bit closer to Parker Ives, but it's obviously not enough to try to go for a move here.
Not enough. All you got to do is get it within about a half car length of the guy for him to see you. Then he'll start to block. Macha's right there. At this rate, now Parker would have to block in 11 potentially. But again, that corner seems to be a little tougher for these kids to pass with that added runoff. Let's see what he does up the hill. He sees him back there. He's not going to defend. Macha got a great run. Wolf got a decent one. Parker Ives, white flag, all the way to the low side. Macha's going to set up high for the crossover.
Ooh.
Here he comes. They get together, and they are still going, still up the hill. Macha's got the inside. They bang tires again. Side by side, they make more contact. Parker Ives has this field, this fence line, jumping up and down, but he holds the lead through 4.
Holds the lead for now. Maxwell Macha still hard on his tail, and Cade Wolf close to Maxwell Macha as well. Cade Wolf's definitely going to try to make a move here on Maxwell Macha to try to make up another spot here, and Maxwell Macha chasing down Parker Ives at the moment. Ives goes defensive down the inside. Maxwell Macha around the outside. Can he get a switchback? He cannot.
But he's got a big run over to 9. That'll force Ives to kind of be late to go over. Now through the double right. This is where it's all going to come down to it. Everybody's watching this 3-car group. Wolf with nearly a run on Macha. Not enough. Final corner. Ives low. Macha to the high side. Crossover move. Not enough. 3 wide coming to the line, though. Parker Ives wins the IAME Grand National Championship.
What a drive by Parker Ives, and what an electric last couple of corners we have had here. Maxwell Macha obviously not that happy with Parker Ives, and last time Cade Wolf was the fastest man on track, and Parker Ives obviously not happy with, if I'm not mistaken here, I think that's Maxwell Macha giving each other a couple of hand signals here.
Well, thumbs up there from Parker to Cade Wolf. Cade Wolf giving a thumbs up to both of them. Maxwell a little bit frustrated. Obviously, he thought Parker turned into him in turn 3. Oh, problems for Sterling Mulata, the number 7 on the final lap. Crashes coming out of turn number 8. He was 10th on the final circuit. He will end up down the order in about 13th or 14th, with Schneegenberg as well having to ride the recovery vehicle in. But Parker Ives, phenomenal 2023 season continues with a win at home here at Trackhouse Motorplex at the IAME USA Grand National Championship. What a race to kick off our main events. 1 of 7 complete. You've got 6 more mains coming your way right here on Kart Chaser.
Looking for the perfect vacation spot and a family fun weekend where a race breaks out? Look no further than Karting the Coast. Our 10 race schedule is already well underway, with stops at NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans and Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi, where our podium ceremonies are on the beach. We know how to have a good time and put on a good race, and all that we're missing is you. To find out more, visit kartingthecoast.info.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Welcome back to the Trackhouse Motorplex for the IAME USA Grand National Championship. We just saw an absolute barn burner in Micro Swift, and we're going to see probably a little bit more of a chess match versus checkers style race, I think, coming up here in KA 100 Master. All weekend long, the field's been chasing Dusty Davis, the multi-time race winner in the senior categories here at Trackhouse Motorplex, the Fast 5 winner last night here under the lights on the backwards layout. And he spent so many laps coaching and developing a number of the superstars we're watching today, from micro all the way up to senior. Still a huge asset under the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart tent on the weekly basis here at Trackhouse Motorplex's Club Series. He's a huge influence to a number of stars, and now he's still proven that even as he's gone up in years, he's got plenty of talent behind the wheel. And right now he's trying to close it out here in KA Master with a main event win. To join him, well, there's a number of veterans and big names as well. How about Billy Workman? We talked to him earlier this morning. You talked to him especially, Caleb.
Yes,
a driver with a lot of dirt track racing experience. Helps run a Legends car team as well on the asphalt ovals. And with only a couple of sprint kart starts, is continuing to get a little bit of an understanding of what it's like to drive these cars. And the big point that I took away from that interview with him that he mentioned to you was that, he's just kind of overdoing the limit a little bit. Whereas in the dirt racing world, the more you hustle the machine, normally you go faster. Here, you go over the limit, you start to go slower. You might still make it through the turn, but you're going to end up a little bit slower. So that's been the big thing for him.
Yeah, of course, and obviously speaking of Billy, he seemed, whenever I talked to him, he was telling me that obviously he was missing a little bit, trying to catch right back up to Dusty Davis. And then we saw it in the pre-final. He was almost there to Dusty Davis, as well as Martin Stone. Speaking to him a little bit before the race, not on air, but Martin was telling me that he believes that he found something overnight to try and catch back up to Dusty Davis.
Well, we'll see. He's teammates with Dusty, gets to see his data, gets to learn from the number 7 and try to close up. Martin Stone in that yellow helmet with the purple and white suit lines up third. John Bonanno, the veteran and regular Masters competitor on the blue and yellow comp cart, starts on the outside in fourth. Byron Daly on the Maranello for Prodigy Racing rounds the top 5, and we're going to go green. Here we are for main event number 2, K Masters down to turn 1. Dusty Davis gets a good start, but Billy Workman with a good start as well. He'll drop into the line in second. Third is Stone. Fourth is Daly. Daly looking for third already down the back straightaway as they head for turn 4 on the first lap.
Yeah, Daly trying to make a move there, but a much better start by Billy Workman than he has had all weekend long. Obviously, super close to Dusty Davis as Dusty Davis started on pole, and the big thing here for Billy Workman is to stay in drafting range to Dusty Davis, as Billy Workman is not going to want. And Dusty Davis defending early here in this race. Billy Workman maybe can get a switchback done, cannot, but Dusty Davis knows how to drive this track, like you were saying, Xander. He was the GM here for quite a while, so he knows this track like the back of his hand.
Yeah, he knows not only what the track layout is like, but what the conditions do on a normal day. From the morning to the afternoon, he's raced it nearly every minute of the 24 hours there are to drive on this circuit. So if there's anyone that's going to know what the track is like right now and what to make adjustments to the car for during that lunch break before his main, it would be the driver, the number 7, that leads the way down the backstretch. But the field's still pretty close at the end of the opening lap. Billy Workman Jr. following him down into the bowl. And behind him again, there is Stone, Daly, Ryan Kastner, who, of course, has had his share of bad luck as well. He's 6th there on the Prodigy Racing Maranello, ahead of Bonanno. And then end of that train, I believe, is Tim Meyer in the 433 red and white Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart. Into the hairpin. They'll tighten up a little bit. Not a lot of defending. No passes made. The only gap is about a car length and a half from second to third as Martin Stone is feeling the pressure from Byron Daly coming out of turn number 9.
Yeah, like you were saying, Ryan Kastner obviously crashed, had a little bit of an incident there at the end of the pre-final, but now Ryan Kastner has worked his way back up to P5 here, and Billy Workman now Davis. Billy Workman still on the rear end of Dusty Davis here. Sorry about that. Dusty Davis still trying to pull away here. Martin Stone right behind him. Up next is Byron Daly, and Ryan Kastner just trying to work his way up. But here at the moment, it seems like Xander Clements has caught up with some of our micro drivers. Down to you, Xander.
Let's talk to our main event winner, Parker Ives. Parker, what a year it's been for you, buddy. What a final lap there. Obviously, you've had a lot of battles on this racetrack, growing up here, training, racing the club races. Did you want to be in first on that final lap around?
Yeah, I knew it would be the right position to be in because, if they pass you, but you're not you're like in the infield somewhere, you can maybe get them back. But
Moving on from that, what a great season it has been for you. You've been in this position so many times. Coming into this main event, were you nervous at all? Because you've been here plenty of times. You've raced for the lead at this racetrack, on the national stage plenty of times. Was it just a lot of fun for you to be out there, or was it, oh man, I need to win this one?
It was just like, oh man, I just need to win this one.
Nonetheless here, you did an awesome job, buddy. You've got so many supporters at home. You've already got $500. Now you got a big prize fund for winning the main event. You've won all the majors here for this weekend, and you go into the Summer Nationals, I'd imagine, in a couple weeks with some more confidence. Who would you like to thank that makes it all happen for you and gets you on the racetrack?
I would like to thank my mom, my dad, my mechanics Rich and Shane, the whole RPM crew, and everybody who supports me.
Well, your budding career continues to go forward here. Now, are you going to be pressing Dad to get you up in Mini as soon as you can?
Yep.
All right, you heard it from Parker Ives. He's ready for the next challenge. But for now, though, he gets to celebrate our first main event winner from the IAME Grand National Championship. Congrats, Parker.
Thank you.
Back to you, Caleb.
Thank you, Xander. And on your screen here now, Billy Workman has lost a handful of spots here to both of the Maranello drivers of Ryan Kasner and Byron Daly. And Martin Stone moves his RPM up in a P2 now. And at the moment, Dusty Davis is running away with it here, but Martin Stone trying to close down the gap to Dusty Davis. And right behind him, Byron Daly in that 4.66. And behind Byron Daly, his teammate in the Maranello of Ryan Kasner.
They'll climb the hill now here in KA 100 Master as they head down the backstretch, and fastest lap of the race was last time by, not by the leader. John Bonanno is starting to roll as he closes up to Billy Workman Jr. for that 5th position, just a little bit out of frame. Here's the wide shot of what your lead pack looks like. Davis with about a 3-car length lead back to Stone. It's a Ryan Perry Motorsport 1-2. They're 1 for 1 on main event so far, trying to get main event number 2 with 2 bullets in the gun between Dusty Davis and Martin Stone. For the Prodigy Racing Maranellos, it would be huge to get a win at their home racetrack with Byron Daly as well as Ryan Kasner. And there's still a lot of time left. The tires are just now getting to where they need to be for everyone in terms of peak pressures, but so many laps to go. It's still anyone's guess as to who can win it. For now, Dusty Davis continues to lead as the lap times were even through the lead pack that time by. The only driver quicker, Byron Daly in 3rd, but he got a little bit of a toe off Martin Stone. I'd say it's about as evenly matched as it's been all weekend from the rest of the group up to Dusty Davis on this standard layout, because again, you're not seeing the gaps close down, you're not seeing them open up. It's just a matter of who makes a mistake and who doesn't as they come to the infield. Davis's lead, 3 car lengths, maybe down to 2 as they're starting to make a little bit of progress. Byron Daly, being a loyal pusher to Martin Stone, has now cut that gap down to about a car length and a half. Let's see if Martin can go. Look at the wide line for Dusty, though. How much wider he was. He was nearly a full car width wider through the center of turn 9, and it shot him out of a cannon coming up the hill to 11. It pulled that gap back up to 2 car lengths. It'll come down a little bit in the toe, but that wider line getting those phenomenal exits is keeping a nice cushion back from Dusty Davis to Martin Stone.
Yeah, of course, and if I was Martin Stone here, I'm going to recognize that Dusty Davis has been flying all weekend long, and I'm really going to stay behind him, try to learn from his line, try to mirror what Dusty Davis is doing out ahead. And like you were saying, Xander, back to your point that these guys have been absolutely stagnant. The gaps have not been moving. This is a really long race. We have 14 laps to go, and once they get tired, mistakes are going to start to happen. Naturally, they are going to get tired, and they may slip up here a little bit, and when that happens, the field may switch up here.
Well, not only that, of course, here, but in the smaller field, as long as you can keep the leader within range, there's not the pressure to necessarily go to the lead. Because when you do, you're kind of, opening your guts and showing your hand, showing your line of where your strengths and weaknesses are. Dusty Davis is kind of riding blind right now, Caleb. He doesn't know if he's better or worse, or where on the racetrack he's better or worse than Martin Stone or Byron Daly. He can try and play it by ear. He can try and look back on every straightaway to judge the margins of where he may be a little better or worse than them, but they know what he doesn't. And if they just ride behind him and wait till the final few laps and then go by, he won't have enough time to make adjustments on the fly to his driving line to get back around them and learn from them of where they may have improved off of him. So that's the one good place to be in at this point in the race. It's not bad if you're Martin Stone. In fact, it's probably the best place to be because you're learning off the leader, you're still within his toe, you look like you're as fast as him, and you've got Byron Daly right behind you, where if you do make a mistake, he's there to push you back forward.
Yeah, and Byron Daly has been the fastest man at almost every single lap. He does hold the fastest lap here in this race here at the moment. But yeah, like you were saying, Martin Stone seems like he has been learning a lot from Dusty Davis, who is out ahead as that gap begins to close down bit by bit. Lap by lap, Martin Stone is just chipping away here at Dusty Davis. It's obviously going to take a lot, and Dusty Davis has been super consistent. Like you were saying, he has a lot of experience on this track, and Martin Stone seems to really to be learning as a, if I'm not mistaken here, I think that was Byron Daly getting there on the rear end of the 441 of Martin Stone here, Xander.
Yeah, he kind of misjudged it a little bit in 6. Byron Daly's been all over Martin Stone, shoving him forward, and that time just misjudged the margin a little and kind of got him sideways in the middle of turn 6, and it opened the gap up. But now a good exit out of 9 will keep him close. The other benefit, of course, Ryan Kastner continuing to learn and go faster. Billy Workman Jr. hit his best lap last time by. So did John Bonanno, and Kastner even going faster that time. So all the drivers 4th, 5th, and 6th getting a little better, staying in the wake of the leader, learning and trying to go faster. Down the backstretch, this will be a big gain for the two of them as they're hooked up. Look at the closing rate, down to a car length as they roll through the banked turn number 4, and now it's only a car and a half from Dusty Davis back to Martin Stone again. As we creep towards the halfway marker, it'll be crossed flags this time by. 11 down and 11 to go into turn number 8. Look how close they are for the top 4.
Yeah, and Billy Workman coming right back up into play. We did see Billy Workman in the second position of this race early on. It seems like he was passed early and moved his way all the way back down to P5 now. He's just been trying to work his way back. John Bonanno behind Billy Workman as well. It seems like there's a little bit of a gap in between Billy Workman and John Bonanno, but John Bonanno obviously trying to learn from the guys ahead, and this is the closest they've been all week long. Martin Stone is starting to chase down Dusty Davis, and Martin Stone giving the signal to Byron Daly in behind. Push me, let's work together, let's try to get right back up to Dusty Davis. And now you see Byron Daly, he realized that he knows Martin Stone is starting to catch up to Dusty Davis, and Byron Daly is okay to push here.
Now, I will say here in this one, that signal could have also gone forward to Dusty, who was looking backwards and knowing that there's a teammate, a red and white machine right behind him as they head to the infield. When we get back to turn number 9 again, viewers, if you haven't seen already, take a look at how much wider Dusty Davis is doing this line in turn number 9. It's such a drastic change for Martin Stone. He's a full car with wider, rim riding the outside lane. That is a lot more difficult than it looks as the rubber gets laid down over the course of a weekend. He's basically almost straddling the outside edge of the grip line that gets laid down by the outside tire. If you cross over it, it's so hard to come back over. It's almost like a curve as the weekend continues to progress, and so it is a super hard line to master, and that's why I don't think you've seen these guys 2nd, 3rd, and 4th try to exactly follow him. I've raced this track plenty of times. It's almost a home track to me growing up in Atlanta, Georgia. That is one of the toughest turns to go through to do exactly what Dusty is doing. There's only a handful of drivers I know of that are phenomenal in that section. One of them is coming up in KA Senior, and that's Paulie Massimino, who's extremely well in that sector as well. But you'll watch it, no matter how much they gain, this is the place where Dusty Davis pulls that gap out every single time. He's nearly rim riding, nearly sideways when he enters the section, but every time he does it, he pulls another half car length up the hill to 11.
Yeah, Dusty Davis seems super confident through that turn there, and he does extend the gap little by little, which gives him the breathing room down the straights as Martin Stone now still tracking down Dusty Davis, but it seems like obviously Dusty Davis's different line is making it much harder for Martin Stone, but Martin Stone in the draft is able to get up to the rear bumper of Dusty Davis, and now Martin Stone down the inside on Dusty Davis, and through goes Byron Daly as well. Cannot get it done though. Dusty Davis back in a P2, and that is the first move that anybody has done on Dusty Davis all weekend long, Xander.
What a move. Martin Stone knew there may not be a lot more opportunities like that one, so he took full advantage and went by his teammate in the number 7. Martin Stone, the leader to turn 9. Davis, let's see, does he change his line through this section? Now he goes a little bit more narrow, staying right in the toe of Martin Stone, not able to go as deep into the corner, but he still got a great exit and was all over him in 11. And now, where Dusty Davis was riding blind earlier, he's getting a perfect opportunity to see where Martin Stone might be better, where he might be better as the field goes through 1 and climbs the hill to turn number 3.
Now it's 2 RPMs and 2 Maranellos fighting for the lead here of this race. Dusty Davis and Martin Stone in the Tony Kart RPMs, and Ryan Kastner and Byron Daly both in the Maranellos. I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of teamwork going on here. We obviously did not see teamwork from Martin Stone as he was trying to get ahead of Dusty Davis, and now Dusty Davis behind Martin Stone. Martin Stone was able to get the move done into turn number 4, and Dusty Davis now is going to see how he can improve here. Like you were saying, being in second could be the best here as Dusty Davis can now learn a little bit from Martin Stone.
It's still just, again, an early part of this section of the race. I mean, I say early, we're past the halfway mark, but there's plenty of time to go. We've unfortunately lost John Bonanno. You heard from him earlier this weekend, tuning on the go-kart himself. He'd made a few tuning mistakes, more than anything, just leaving bolts loose. Now, unfortunately, not enough speed to hang with the leaders as they've continued to stay below the 52-second bracket in the high 51s. For John Bonanno that time by, it was a 52 flat. He lost another tenth to the leaders, and it looks like the man from the Northeast may be out of contention. Dusty Davis wants the lead back, though. He'll take it in turn 4. Byron Daly trying to follow, trying to muscle his way through, but he can't do it again. Couldn't follow the leader through. He's stuck still in third.
And look who's back into play, Billy Workman Jr. Welcome back to the party. Now, Billy Workman Jr. on the rear end of Ryan Kasner as Ryan Kasner's going to size up and move on his teammate. Byron Daly goes out wide, and through goes Billy Workman Jr. Billy Workman Jr. now behind Ryan Kasner. Ryan Kasner up in a P3. Billy Workman P4, and Byron Daly all the way down in P5.
That right there, that little bit of hesitation through turn 4 to get his elbows out, cost Byron Daly a net of 2 spots as it allowed Ryan Kasner to close up in the infield. Now the question is, how much muscle do you have to flex Ryan Kasner? Up the hill to turn 3. He's closing back to Martin Stone. The gap's back up to a healthy 2 car lengths for Dusty Davis on the back straightaway again as they go to turn number 4 and through the bowl. Here we are for the top 4. Let's see if Daly can recover as well. I thought Byron Daly looked maybe as fast as Stone, if not a little quicker, but now he's got his work cut out for him. He's got to find some more speed as he trails by 2 car lengths from Billy Workman. Into the infield. Here we go. Look at this. Kasner.
Yeah, what a move there by Ryan Kasner and Billy Workman Jr. side by side there with Martin Stone. And now Martin Stone trying to size up a move on the number 2 Marinello of Ryan Kasner, but cannot get it done. There he goes again, Martin Stone. Ryan Kasner up in a P2 here, and Martin Stone still on the rear end of that number 2 Marinello of Ryan Kasner. Cannot get it done. Byron Daly peeks his nose on the inside of Billy Workman, but cannot get it done here.
Well, that right there, that could cost them. That one little mistake of Martin Stone. I don't think he tried to pass Kasner into 9. I think he was just trying to defend from Billy Workman, but he ended up just barely nudging the back bumper of Kasner and getting him out of shape and moving him off the line. And it's given Dusty Davis the biggest lead we've seen all main event here with 5 laps to go. And a guy you will not expect mistakes from here on this racetrack is Dusty Davis. That gap last time by 7 tenths to Ryan Kasner. Billy Workman trying for 3rd. Stone holds the outside and shows him the door back to 4th. So no change. Kasner with a little separation, but to be honest, he doesn't need it. He needs Martin Stone to push him back up to Davis if they want any chance to try and challenge for this main event win. Dusty Davis headed for home down the front stretch. 4 laps to go for the number 7. Kasner leaning forward, trying to get everything as again Billy Workman tries to get one on Martin Stone, and he can't complete the pass, but he'll have a run on him down the backstretch. Watch this. Stone's too far back for the toe. Here comes Billy Workman Jr. looking low on Martin Stone again. Again, Stone slams the door shut. You can only do that so many times before the driver behind gets frustrated, Caleb, and they root you out of the way.
Yeah, of course. I mean, being there myself a couple of times, if I was a driver, I'd be pretty frustrated at times as well. And Billy Workman, obviously, you can see the desperation in his hands. He wants to get past Martin Stone here, as he does want to get into the podium places here. But Billy Workman has to be patient with Martin Stone. He has to find the right move here, because if they get desperate, they're both going to be off the racetrack, and Byron Daly is going to go through.
Up the hill this time. It'll be 3 to go now. Byron Daly still looking on in 5th, just maybe not having the speed to run. Dusty Davis that time by, another 10th added onto the gap. He continues to pull away. 9 tenths of a second and growing back to Ryan Kasner, who's also gotten some separation. Workman again, big run. This time he should be fully alongside. Turn 4 gives him the bumper a little bit. They're side by side coming out, and now he's clear. Stone back to 4th. Daly again can't find a hole, stays in 5th, but Billy Workman to 3rd is big mistake out of Ryan Kasner. He dropped a tire big time out of turn 6. That'll make him sideways in the hairpin. Stone back on Workman as well. It's all opening up behind the leader. Side by side for 3rd to the devil right. Workman for the crossover. He gets it done. Nicely done, Billy Workman. Here comes Byron Daly as well on the inside of Stone. Not enough. Stone back in 11. Back on the inside of Billy Workman. And again, Workman will get a run down the front stretch to try him.
What a couple of corners. And there goes Billy Workman again on Martin Stone down the inside. Billy Workman, what a slide job by him, and Martin Stone can get him back. He cannot. Martin Stone now decides to be a little patient here behind Billy Workman. Is Martin Stone going to go for the move here? He is not. He's going to decide to be patient. But there goes Byron Daly on the inside of Martin Stone. Byron Daly up in a P4, but Martin Stone's coming back side by side. Martin Stone back up in a P4. Billy Workman holds on.
Oh, and Workman dropped a tire. Now he's going to be sliding sideways into the hairpin. Stone to the inside. He gets into Workman. Here comes Daly. Byron Daly all the way, almost clear. Trying to get clear on the outside of turn 9. Workman's still there. They're going to bang tires for third. Here comes John Bonanno. White flag this time by in the battle for third. Workman is through. Daly on the high side. He'll hang on over Stone as they come down the front straightaway. This is a phenomenal battle behind the leaders. Bonanno now with a nose on Martin Stone. He gets into 5th. Daly to 4th, Workman to 3rd on the final lap, and now Workman defends in 3. That'll give Byron Daly a big run. Look how far down the line Kastner is. Into the pole, final time, not close enough. Meanwhile, all the way out in front, it has been all Dusty Davis all weekend long. The Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart has looked phenomenal, and in his return to the seat, in his Masters debut as they battle back for 3rd, Dusty Davis is headed home with another big-time main event win here at Trackhouse Motorplex. He always finds a way to turn up when it counts, and with 7 to go, he got a lead, and he never looked back. Dusty Davis wins the IAME Heavy main event here on Sunday. Behind him, look at the battle for 3rd. At the line, Billy Workman Jr. hangs on as Kastner in 2nd, 3rd to Workman, 4th to Daly, and 5th to John Bonanno with that nice move by Martin Stone on the final lap. Well, what a run, what a weekend for Dusty Davis in the number 7.
Yeah, what a drive all weekend by Dusty Davis. Absolutely perfect, swept the weekend here. And, I mean, his experience shows here. He was absolutely class all weekend long, but what a drive by John Bonanno to work himself right back to P5. And, yes, we're getting confirmation here that top 5 are on the podium, so Byron Daly and John Bonanno. John Bonanno able to sneak himself onto the podium places late here in this race, Xander.
A little bit of extra hardware for the one-man band of John Bonanno here this week on the blue and yellow Timmy Tech delivery comp cart as they exit the racetrack here. Dusty Davis will be the first once again to the scale line. A full-on sweep. It wasn't a perfect weekend, didn't lead every lap, but it's about as close to perfect as he could have been. Dusty Davis wins it all here in IAME Heavy from Trackhouse Motorplex. But this next race, it's anyone's guess. Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera were class of the field in the pre-final. KA100 Jr. getting set to go green here as the engines come to life behind us, Caleb. And with 38 drivers, it still really comes down to whether or not the leaders can break away, because we saw in that heat race earlier today that a big mistake for 3rd on the opening lap just split them apart by 3 seconds, and they never got back to them. I don't think you'll see the top 10 be that hard on each other to let the leaders get away in the opening lap, but you never know with Junior.
Yeah, of course, and obviously Stephen Miller has been super quick all weekend long, as well as Ernesto Rivera, and behind him McMurray has been quick as well. Enzo Vinmontien obviously up there in the mix as well, but Ernesto Rivera obviously lost the position in turn number 8 to Stephen Miller, so that's going to be one of the big passing zones that we have here, Xander. Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera, they're going at it here in 2 classes. They're going to have to go at it here in K100, flip the switch, and get ready to go at it again in X30, because it's been both of them all weekend long in both classes.
Again, Carter McMurray as well will line up in a nice spot here for KA100 Jr. as he heads out in that blue and yellow Timmy Tech comp cart in 3rd. Behind him, there is Enzo Vidmontien. Last night, so close to winning the Fast 5 shootout in X30 Junior. Just came up 1 spot shy with 1 mistake late in the going, but even Ernesto Rivera felt like he was fast. Enzo felt like he was quick. He said, man, I was so good in the X30 Junior as well this morning, and then the motor shut off. So he was so excited to try and continue rolling forward here in KA Junior, the motor shut off. But still, for Enzo Vidmontien, he knows the speed's there. The Motaz Sport team has him tuned back up on that 895 white and orange Kart Republic as they begin the warm-up lap here. Chase Buscalia is still looking for his first career national win on the red and yellow Team GWR Gillard. He's been a major improvement story here all 2023, and this could be the day that Chase Buscalia gets the job done. Turner Brown behind him has been a kid that's been so close and such an impressive rookie run here in junior. He crossed the line first to end his mini career at the Super Nationals, only to lose it on a post-race penalty. So he is still looking for that big-time win. He rolls off in a safe spot there on row number 3 as they round turn number 9. Meanwhile, further back down the grid, let's take you to the rest of your top 10. Well, on from Turner Brown, you have, again, Buscalia, in the 7th spot. It's Ernesto Rivera that was slated to start in 3rd. But slated to start in 2nd. Indeed, it was Buscalia in the 6th spot. It's Turner Brown in the 5th position. And then further back there, row number 4 has Oliver Weldon in that Hot Wheels Racing JC Karting Team LN Kart to his outside. Louis Mason Walters in the 816. He was in the top 3 all the way through that pre-final. Rolls off 8th. Back on row 5, you've got another one of the RPG Cosmics. What a weekend forward it's been for Jackson Wolney after breaking and qualifying. He's had to make a lot of passes. He knows how to go forward. He starts in 9th to the outside of him. It's John Antonino Jr., an early punch-off for the pole man, Stephen Miller, and he gets a huge lead as they climb the hill here on the opening circuit with a couple turned around in turn number 1. One is the 807 machine further back. That's Wyatt Downing, and the 621 Kart Republic as well is slowing. Coming out of the opening corner, that's Samuel Newell, who started 23rd. But the leader of fellow Kart Republic, Stephen Miller, takes us through the infield.
Yeah, what a start there by Stephen Miller. And Ernesto Rivera seems like he got caught up a little bit further on back as Enzo Vidmontien and McMurray going 3 wide. Oliver Weldon down the inside on McMurray. Oliver Weldon can get it done here, and Oliver Weldon works his way up the field. We've seen him have a couple of good drives up the field, and this is another one of those drives. Oliver Weldon still trying to work his way further up on the field.
And out of the corner, Chase Buscalia still side by side with John Antonino Jr. trying to let him through, trying to get down in front of Jackson Wolney. Not going to happen. Wolney gets through, but he'll get in front of Emma Kate Scarborough. Back behind. Single file for the most part as Wolney's under fire from Buscalia, who got a big run out of that last turn, and he gets back down in line. So Buscalia able to get the spot back down the backstretch here. Already look at the front 2 trying to break away. Enzo Vidmontien trying to get there. He needs a perfect lap. Right now, this will decide the race for Enzo Vidmontien if he can put a perfect lap together on cold tires. Or will Ernesto Rivera push Stephen Miller to the distance? Well, he's not. He's going to go to the lead in turn 8. Miller back to 2nd, and that will bring Vidmontien back into frame and potentially close enough to challenge for the race lead.
Yeah, Enzo Vidmontien has been there all weekend so far, and when Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller begin to fight, Enzo Vidmontien is going to start coming right back into play, and the more and more they fight, the more and more karts are going to start coming right back into play, as now we see Ernesto Rivera leading this race, Stephen Miller right behind him. We have seen them go at it all year long in multiple races, and now I feel like it's deja vu, Xander. I'm seeing it happen all over again.
Yeah, look at this down the backstretch here with Rivera leading. Now, granted, that one pass just gave a little bit of a bigger sniff of toe for Enzo Vidmontien. And the kid in 4th there, Turner Brown, on that red, black, and white Speed Concepts Racing red speed. As they go to the infield section here, Rivera, Miller, single file, no pass this time. Ernesto trying to break away. Miller trying to push him away. 4 car lengths back to Enzo Vidmontien. Look who's latched on as well. What a great start for Mason Walters, already up 3 spots on the racetrack. 8th to 5th here as he latches on to Turner Brown. Back from him is that blue and yellow comp card of Carter McMurray. He leads the next pack as a big mistake from Brown has Walters looking for 4th. He'll take the spot away in turn number 1 with the fastest lap of the race last time by for Mason Walters on that BJR MDR LN kart.
Yeah, you can really tell Mason Walters wanted to go. Turner Brown, obviously an unfortunate mistake by him. And Mason Walters wanted to go by as he was the fastest man on track last time by. And now he's going to try to chase down Enzo Vidmontien or maybe even push him to try to get right back up the rear end of the 2 leaders, Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera, because we know Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera are not going to make mistakes in this race unless they begin a fight. Now, Mason Walters on the rear end of Ernesto Rivera going to try to push him all the way forward.
Let's see if he can push Enzo Vidmontien all the way up to the lead. Mason Walters out of turn number 9 is locked on the bumper, or does he feel like he's faster leading the pack up the hill to 11? No pass here. The pack's lined up behind them. Again, this is a critical point of the race for 3rd and 4th. Whether they work together or whether they swap positions. They lost 3 more tenths to the leaders last time by. Ernesto Rivera is flat flying here at the moment with help from Stephen Miller. The gap is nearly a second back to 3rd. Walters gonna go. Vidmontien waves him by, says no problem, I'll push you, but you better take us to the promised land of the lead into turn number 5.
Yeah, very smart there by Enzo Vidmontien, realizing that obviously at the moment he doesn't have the pace to lead the group, so Mason Walters will take over from here, and Enzo Vidmontien is going to decide to push McMurray, trying to size up a move on Turner Brown, and Turner Brown gets gets in there a little bit with Enzo Vidmontian. Now McMurray trying to get a move done on Turner Brown, but cannot get it done here.
That was awkward, and now the big loser out of that's going to be Oliver Weldon. Antonino Jr. gets by. Here comes Buscali as well on the JC Karting driver. Oliver Weldon falls back 2 spots. Down the front stretch, what's the new gap? Back to Walters. Walters is flying. My goodness, Mason Walters was faster than the leaders by himself that time by on the BJR MDRLN kart. Rivera, a 51.113 and a 114 for Walters. They were dead even, and if he can just go a little bit better, if he can get some help, he's going to maybe get it soon. Turner Brown going by Vidmontien for the 4th spot. They're already a good ways back from Mason Walters, but the kid who's won his first national and his second here at Trackhouse Motorplex is going to try to win his 4th on the year here through 3rd on the year, 4th overall as he tracks down the top 2.
Yeah, Mason Walters, what a drive has been so far by him. He is super quick here at the moment, and Stephen Miller and Nestor Rivera playing a chess match as they have been doing all weekend long and almost all year long. So these guys aren't going to fight, but Mason Walters is going to try and close out in that gap ever so slightly to the 2 leaders up ahead.
Let's see them down through turn number 1. Lap time set by him die. Oh my goodness, Mason Walters, have some mercy. 50.78. He was 4/10 better than the race leader last time by. Mason Walters is moving right now as they go through turn number 4. He's only now 7/10 away from the lead, tracking down the 2 best juniors here all season long, Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller as they enter the infield. Behind him, Turner Brown, even to the leaders with a big pack behind him. If they can stay in line, they've still got a big chance. We're still very early. Only 15 laps remaining, but now Vidmontien going on Brown. He goes by. Antonino Jr. is up now 4 spots as he got around Carter McMurray. So John Antonino Jr. on that black and orange Tesoro Raceworks CRG charges forward. Let's see the times this time by. Rivera at the line, 50.9, 50.8 for Mason Walters, continuing to close. 51.1 for Vidmontien, they're 2 seconds back. They need more. They need to really get going, and they are right now, that 4th place, 5th place, 6th place group, they are Mason Walters' cheering section. As Antonino wants to get 5th, he'll take it away from Turner Brown in turn 4.
Yeah, what a move there by him. And here we have Ernesto Rivera, Stephen Miller, and Mason Walters. They have been absolutely dead even almost the whole race here. Mason Walters is trying to close down that gap to Stephen Miller. It seems like he's doing it. He closes inch by the second here, Xander.
Let's go down side by side to pit lane as Walters tracks down the leaders. We've tracked down some of our top finishers from Miami Heavy. Alexander Searle, what do you got for us?
Yeah, thanks, Xander. Here with your winner at KA Masters, Dusty Davis. Dusty, first and foremost, walk me through your emotions right now at a racetrack that you and Justin helped develop many years ago. How good does it feel to be an IAME Grand National Champion?
Man, it feels great. A lot of work goes into this. You know, you're here from Wednesday to Sunday, and really all the work you put in is just to get you to the final. And then all the stars have to align at the final. You got to get through turn 1. Your setup's got to be good. You got to have lucky breaks, man. It's so hard to win one of these, whether it's 10 karts in the field or 44. So just really appreciative of the opportunity and be able to pull it off for the Ryan Perry Motorsports team. You know, it feels great. The competitors, I knew they were going to step it up in the final, especially on the national course, the full course. The draft is so big. I knew it was going to be really hard to break away from them in that final on fresh tires, as we saw in qualifying, where I wasn't able to break away. And so in the beginning of the race, I just tried to save tires, knowing that I probably wasn't going to break away. Martin got by me, thought about trying to push him, but I could tell that there was a lot of hungry drivers behind me, and I knew that, you know, I needed to go. So I got back by Martin, and I got the lucky break where I think they started racing, and that's all I needed. I just needed a gap, and then I could start laying down some laps from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with this being one of the first national races you've done in quite some time, you do the club stuff here, but can we expect to see you on the national scene a little more here, Dusty?
You know, I'm so fortunate. Our club is so strong that at the senior level at the club, I mean, half these KA senior drivers out here are at our club, and we get 30 to 40. I think our first club race of the year had 47 karts that I won. So for me, I'm fortunate. I can go run the senior level at the club and race like all these guys, and they keep me honest, right? And it keeps me in shape. As far as nationals go, I'm going to go run the Super Nats. So looking forward to that. But yeah, we're really fortunate here at GoPro Motorplex. A lot of talent, deep fields, and for me at my age, 32, you know, every year it gets a little harder. So as long as I can continue to come out here and run against these guys, you know, and have fun, I'm going to do it.
All right, thanks, Dusty. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Awesome to hear from Dusty Davis. And how about that? A Supernats entry coming from our IAME Grand National Champion in the ever-intense KA100 Masterclass in Las Vegas. We look forward to seeing Dusty there, and we look forward to seeing more of this here in this main event as Mason Walters got to the lead while we were away. He's now lost it already. Stephen Miller now leads your field out of turn number 9, Caleb.
Yeah, they've been shuffling here all race long. Mason Walters has been absolutely flying. Now Ernesto Rivera down the inside on Mason Walters through turn number 11, and Ernesto Rivera is going to lead Mason Walters and himself down the main straight as they try to chase back down to Stephen Miller, who has been absolutely quick here as well. These three are really going at it. There's fireworks exploding here, Xander.
Big mover here while the leaders continue to battle. Now Rivera wants the lead into turn at number 4. He'll take it back from Miller and bring Walters on through. How about the run if we go back to that second pack from Isaac Malkett on the team on the privateer red, black, and yellow Gillard. That black nose cone was in the grass in the pre-final. Got turned around in the first corner. He's up 13 positions to 6, trying to go for one more as Oliver Weldon goes to 4th. He can't get through on Vidmontien, but an incredible drive forward from the Midwestern driver Isaac Malkett, already up 13 and looking to potentially get into the top 5 podium. While the leaders exit turn number 11, we're going to come to see 10 laps to go, 12 complete. It is Ernesto Rivera, Mason Walters, and Stephen Miller, your top 3.
Yeah, what a drive so far by Oliver Weldon and Isaac Malkett. As Isaac Malkett, I think at the moment, has now cleared Enzo Vidmontien to move Isaac Malkett up to P5. Oliver Weldon in front of him. And here, the battle for the lead here, Stephen Miller, Mason Walters, and Ernesto Rivera. They've been trading position all race long with 9 laps to go. There's nothing left on the table. They are leaving nothing out there. Ernesto Rivera is going to lead them away here down into turn 7. It seems like Mason Walters dropped a tire there. Is Stephen Miller going to go? He is. Stephen Miller down the inside on Mason Walters. Moves Stephen Miller up to P2, but that's not going to be it. Mason Walters looking for a switchback. Is he going to pull out? He does. Stephen Miller still on the inside. Stephen Miller holds on to P2.
And look at the lead that Ernesto Rivera gets. The kid from Mexico now leads the way. $500 richer from last night's X30 Junior Shootout. A big time gap here with 9 to go. Market at 7/10. At that same time, the gap behind opened up a little. There's no more extra help from 4th on back because the top 3 are long gone. 3 seconds up the road and counting. As they head down the back straightaway, Walters back on Miller in turn 4, trying to lead him back up to Ernesto Rivera. They've almost lost touch with the Rollins and Performance Group Cosmic driver as they go through turn number 6.
Yeah, and I think if I'm Stephen Miller and Mason Walters here, I'm really going to hold on and try to keep pushing each other, try to work our way right back up to the rear end of Ernesto Rivera. But the more and more they fight, you see the more and more that gap opens up as Ernesto Rivera now half a second ahead of Mason Walters and Stephen Miller, and obviously a big lap back to the group of Isaac Malkett and Oliver Weldon here.
Here they come up the hill. Stephen Miller's got no choice but to push Mason Walters and hope that he can continue to run some fast laps that he was earlier in that race. That time by, that was a good improvement. Mason Walters a 50.9 to Ernesto Rivera at a 51.1. This one's not over. He's only about 6/10 back. He'll close that gap up with a big push down the backstretch as well. Isaac Malkett is moving. He picked up a 10th on the lead. Still 3.5 seconds away, but he's gotten himself 15 spots up to 4th. A driver that probably could have been in this lead pack, but unfortunately had to start way deep in the field after a crash in the pre-final. Through the infield and into the hairpin we go. Rivera, his lead now is down to 4 car lengths as they exit turn number 8.
Yeah, and it seems like Mason Walters and Stephen Miller have begun to work together here, and now you see that gap closing little by little, chipping away here at the lap times of Ernesto Rivera. But Ernesto Rivera, you've seen his quality all weekend long, Xander. He's been almost absolutely perfect. Stephen Miller has to really put his head down, push Mason Walters to try to work their way up, and now you see that gap closing down the main straight as they keep pushing each other.
As they head down up the hill through turn number 3 and down the back straightaway, Ernesto Rivera's lead continues here at 2 car lengths. Back to Mason Walters. It's now down to only a car length coming out of the bowl. They've caught him. That group behind's kind of sorted themselves out as well. The more they battle in these final few laps, there's a long shot chance that second group of 3 could catch the leaders, but they need the battle to start now. We'll see. I don't think Mason Walters, after spending all that time riding behind the leaders and having to track them down, is going to wait. And that's good news for these 3. Isaac Malkett Oliver Weldon. On the blue and yellow JC Karting Team Lando Norris Kart. And then the red and yellow Gillard of Chase Buscalia. Out of the final turn, now Rivera's got a challenge. Here we come, down to turn number 1. Walters, big run to the bumper. He'll stay there through the opening corner.
Yeah, what a run down the main straight by Mason Walters. As we said it all weekend, the draft is really big here, and it's showing here at the moment. Is Mason Walters going to decide to make a move here on Ernesto Rivera? He cannot here at the moment, and he's still chasing him down. Mason Walters chasing down Ernesto Rivera still, and Oliver Weldon and Isaac Malquit seem like they're working together to try to work their way up to this group of 3, but it's all going to explode here with a little over 5 laps to go. Mason Walters and Ernesto Rivera still going at it here late in this race. Ernesto Rivera at the lead at the moment, and Stephen Miller just there patiently waiting in the 3rd spot. Whenever it all starts to explode in between Mason Walters and Ernesto Rivera, Stephen Miller's going to be there, try and pick up the leftovers, but it's going to be fireworks all the way to the end here. Down the main straight we go. Ernesto Rivera still in the lead of this race. Mason Walters going to look for a move down the inside. Stephen Miller's going to try to follow, and down the inside, both of them go. Mason Walters, Stephen Miller get through.
Mason Walters now at the point. Good job here for Stephen Miller as well to push him through as they go to turn number 4. It's 5 laps to go here in this KA Junior Main. 3.5 seconds still back to the next group. They're going as fast as they can with Malcutt, Buscalia, and Weldon in tow. Into the infield here. 4 to go at the line. Mason Walters, Stephen Miller, Ernesto Rivera. Who is going to win the IAME USA Grand National Championship? It could be any one of them here as they go to turn number 9.
Yeah, it could be anybody indeed, as we've seen the lead change a handful of times as Stephen Miller now follows Mason Walters. Is Stephen Miller going to try to make a move here with a little over 5 laps to go? Less than 5 laps to go now. 4 laps to go. Stephen Miller still behind Mason Walters, but for how long?
As they go up the hill to turn number 2 and 3. Down the backstretch, 4 laps remaining for Mason Walters. As they go down the backstretch here, we continue to stay single file through turn number 4. No changes yet. Miller happy to ride in second.
Stephen Miller still in second place. He seems pretty content. He knows Mason Walters has the pace. I mean, we saw it earlier on. Mason Walters and Stephen Miller worked together to catch right back up to Ernesto Rivera. Now Ernesto Rivera looking for a move down the inside on Stephen Miller. Cannot get it done in the turn number 8. Now coming into a little kink on the left and the right. That turn number 9 coming in at 10. Mason Walters still leads them all the way through. Stephen Miller follows Mason Walters through, and that gap to Ernesto Rivera opening up bit by bit. But Ernesto Rivera now going to get the toe down the main straight.
Here we are down to turn number 1. Miller peeking out a little bit. Looked like he thought about maybe making a move down into turn number 1. Up the hill to turn number 3, and they go down the backstretch again with Walters, Miller, and Rivera still there. Single file into the bowl. Walters a little bit low that time now with 2.5 to go. So he felt them coming, didn't even want to give them the opportunity to go by. Let's see. Does he defend in the turn 8 hairpin this time? Mason Walters takes us out of 7 into 8, half a car length up. He does. Center track. Here comes Rivera to the inside of Miller. Crossover move coming out. Stephen Miller's going to nose ahead of Rivera, but he's got nowhere to go on the outside. Sends it around the outside in turn 9, but he's into the runoff. And Rivera gets up to second.
Yeah, Rivera. For a second there, I thought Stephen Miller was sending Rivera through, and now Stephen Miller tries to stick it on the outside. He's going to switch it back on Ernesto Rivera, and now Stephen Miller is going to try to push Mason Walters all the way through, and he does. Ernesto Rivera on the outside. Can he get a little bit of switchback done? He can. On the outside, inside now, Ernesto Rivera. Can he get a move done on Mason Walters? He cannot.
Down the backstretch, Mason Walters knows the pressure still coming. He goes low. Rivera opens up. Miller back low. Rivera on the high side is going to hold on to second, but he can't get by Walters with 1.5 laps remaining. Mason Walters through turn 6 has kept him at bay. Look at Isaac Malcutt right there in the 875. Down to the inside for Walters. Look at Rivera to the high side. Walters runs him up the racetrack. Stephen Miller, 3 wide and to the lead into turn number 9.
What a drive, and look who's back. Isaac Malquit now on the rear end of Ernesto Rivera. Isaac Malquit's going to try to push Ernesto Rivera through, and Ernesto Rivera looks over his shoulder and says, "Where did you come from? Welcome to the party, Isaac Malquit, Oliver Weldon, and Buscalia."
What a run forward for Isaac Malcutt now. Walters going back in on him in turn 1, and he makes contact. He pops the tire. Malcutt's off the racetrack. He dirt tracks it through out of turn number 2, back to 6 for Malcutt. All the while, Stephen Miller into the bowl. Final time, the gap is tremendous. Rivera back to second. The battle is on for third between Mason Walters and Chase Buscalia and Oliver Weldon.
but I think Stephen Miller, I talked to him this morning, it's a 12-race-old go-kart. It feels like it's just lacking on speed. He was going to have to race his way to the front. He's raced his way there. He's been in the perfect position, and what an over-under. 3-wide move for the lead, and it's going to be for the win. Headed up to the final turn, Stephen Miller rounds 11, and he wins in K8 Junior here at the Grand Nationals.
What a drive by Stephen Miller. We saw a whole lot of fighting in between the top 5 all weekend long, and side by side further on down, I believe that was Enzo Vidmontiena and McMurray. They're going side by side in the end. Jackson Warney was able to beat both of them. Carter McMurray finishing 8th, Emma Kate Scarsborough in 9th, and John Antonio rounding up the top 10. But what a race we've had here, Xander. We saw a whole lot of mixing all race long, and we're going to see it again in X30 Junior.
Oh, man, we can't wait to have these young guns get back on the racetrack and battle it out. Stephen Miller wins this battle. We'll see if he wins the war. He's got himself now 1 win. Stephen Miller becomes the first driver eligible for that $5,000 bonus if he can sweep X30 Junior and K8 Junior here this weekend. There's more to come from the IAME USA Grand National Championship, but a lot of track cleanup to come as well. We'll take a commercial break and come back with the next class, KA 100 Senior. Welcome back as the engines come to life for the KA100 senior main event. It is the first time we've had all of the stars of this class together. We started with 59 entries. We've narrowed it down to the best 45. Top of the heap to lead them off. Local kid Aiden Levy's done good all weekend. Pole in qualifying, top in the heats, and his win in the pre-final. He leads off from the pole alongside Wisconsin's own Brandon Lemke in that Millwright Racing host TD Tony Kart. The number 901 has also won a number of heat races. He's looked super strong in the final sector of the racetrack. We'll see what he can do here at Trackhouse Motorplex. Back to row 2. It's the big guy, Danny Formal, $4,000 richer, trying to add $3,000 to the bank here with a win in this main event and come home $7,000 higher on the bank account. To his outside, the kid who's grown up here since his kid kart days. His first ever laps in a go-kart. We're right here at Trackhouse Motorplex, one of the first ever success stories out of this racetrack. Toyota Racing Development driver Brent Cruz and the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart rolls off in 4th. AJ Myers lines up behind his fellow pro shifter drivers on the inside of row number 3 on the number 28 blue and orange Magic Kart. To his outside will be the number 951 red and white MPG Motorsports Kart Republic of Braden Eves. Adam Brickley will start in the number 7 blue and yellow Alonzo Kart on the inside of row 4. Alongside him, the number 329 of Austin Garrison, who has finally gotten his way to the front of the field. He completes that 4th row. Just behind him, it's the 158 Kart Republic factory driver Joe Turney in 9th. To his outside, the rookie standout, the highest starting rookie in the field, Leonardo Escorpioni, completes the top 10 on that black and yellow Zanella Racing Tony Kart. Back on row number 6, it'll be fast Frankie Mossman in the 977 black and orange Tesoro Raceworks CRG. To his outside, Trinity Karting Group's Hayden Jones. Row 7 will have Colin Lloyd on the black and white Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed. Spencer Conrad joins him on that row to start 14th. Austin Jers, 15th. Paulie Massimino, after getting knocked to the wayside in the pre-final, stalls all the way down in the 16th spot, having some of the fastest laps turned here earlier today. John Burke will roll off in 17th alongside Tyler Wettengel. James Overbeck and Anthony Rivera will make up the top 20. Then it's Noah Baker and Oliver Piatek on row number 11. Gavin Bailiff and Dalton Haynes back on row 12. Emery Lida in 25th there on row 13 alongside him, Noah Rosser. Then it's Weston Workman and Steven Eisert, Eli Warren and Aiden Hatcher, Rafe Shaw, Spencer Mast, Axel Cabrera, Luke Welcome, Chase Jones, Connor Ferris, a couple big names back on row 18. Dominic Tesoro and Drew James on row 19 along with Colin Hayes, Jack Doyle, and the final 5 that transferred in, Braden Robertson, Abby Adams, Jordan Hernandez, Josh Oates, and Valen Venkatesh. As we've got our top 45 here, the KA100 seniors round the last turn. They come down the front straightaway. For 22 laps, it is going to be a barn burner start to finish. The stands are full. The fences are lined. Aiden Levy, Brandon Lemke, boys and girls, let's go racing down to turn number 1.
Yeah, good start there for Aiden Levy. Timed it perfectly. Formal already up to P2. Not the start Brandon Lemke would have wanted. Already falls back to P3. AJ Myers up there in P4 already. Good start, I believe, for Brent Cruz now up into the 5th spot. No, he fell back to 6th. Adam Brickley to P5. Brent Cruz around the outside of Brickley in the Fernando Alonso kart. Cruz going to try to sneak it into P5. He's going to have to. Oh, Brickley's going to have to fall back a few spots. There goes Eves now through. Brickley falls back to 9th.
Now Braden Eves, lots to worry about defending into the hairpin. What about Aiden Levy? He goes low to block, takes the leaders down low as well. Everybody on the low side in the hairpin. A couple drivers up high. Formal points to the sky, says, Aiden, go forward. I'll follow. I don't want a low line and bring a 20 kart lead pack into this thing, but it's still all packed up. As he signals back to Lemke as well to think and go forward. AJ Myers, slight defense back to Brent Cruz on the final turn. In fact, AJ's going to go all the way to the low side. Ooh. Brent says, screw that. Down to the grass for Brent Cruz in turn number 1 with Joe Turney trying to follow as they climb the hill to 3.
Wow, Brent Cruz getting aggressive early. Turney did end up following him through. So Brent Cruz to 4th. Turney 5th. Adam Brickley there in 6th. AJ Myers lost a handful of spots there. He might lose another one here. If Eves can go on the outside, couldn't make it stick. Eves now, and Garrison is through to P8 there. There's Leo Scorpione. Is that Paulie Massimino already into the top 10? AJ Myers, huge mistake there. Drops the tire to 6th. A lot of dirt on his tires. He goes defensive again, AJ Myers. And Eves going to give him the bumper. Says, get out of my way. Eves through.
Here comes Austin Garrison, but he's in a bad spot on the outside lane now. Through turn 9, 2x2. Myers forcing Eves off to the wayside. Eves trying to stay full throttle. Garrison's right behind him as well. He finds a hole down low. Eves pops the curb. He'll lose a few more. Down the front stretch, they're all fanning out while the leaders get away as they go down to turn number 1. A couple laps complete in the top 3 with a big gap back to Brent Cruz already. It is Danny Formal who's gone to the lead over Aiden Levy. Brandon Lemke is right there as they go down to turn number 4.
Yeah, definitely surprised to see AJ Myers deciding to defend so early on in this race, but it seems like it's working out for him as he is still in 7th place of this race and now trying to chase down the leaders in the groups up ahead, Xander.
Well, you heard it from AJ in the pre-final. He felt like he wasn't the fastest car, so he's just trying to keep his elbows out and stay ahead. Oh man, Danny Formal got a big amount of contact from Aiden Levy going by, but he's going to hang on to second, and that'll connect the dots now. It's 6 cars in the lead group. Levy not going to stay behind no matter who it is. Aiden Levy will lead us out of turn number 11.
Yeah, 6-car breakaway out front and a huge mess behind them. The battle for 7th. Eves puts AJ Myers into the dirt.
Big contact there in that final turn as Braden Eves ran AJ Myers nearly into the wall. He was already frustrated with Myers getting into him early. He wanted to make sure he had no shot to get back to him. Potentially sacrificed his own race as Joe Turney gets into the mix in turn number 4 along with Adam Brickley. He's trying the inside. He'll get the inside. Lemke's got damage on that right rear bumper as well. Brandon Lemke in turn number 1 and 2 somewhere on this lap has heavily damaged that Holtz DD Tony Kart. He falls to the end of the train.
And it seems like Brandon Lemke's starting to lose time here. I'm wondering if that right rear bumper is starting to wear on that tire there, but Joe Turney making moves here early on, already ahead of Lemke, and now Joe Turney's going to be on the charge trying to get ahead to catch right back up to Brent Cruz, who is in P3 at the moment.
Here they go down the front straightaway. Let's take a look at them as the field comes down. Brandon Lemke's all the way back there in 6th. Leo Scorpione super fast as there's a big contact. Dalton Haynes and Spencer Mass collide in the final turn. And the two of them are going to get back going at the back of the field with heavy damage for both as Haynes is going to turn it around and come into the pit lane here, trying to check, make sure there's no one coming, and the day is over for Dalton Haynes and KA Senior, unfortunately. The leaders, though, into the infield as Danny Formal leads Brent Cruz over Levy and then Joe Turney.
Yeah, Brent Cruz here as Turney, late move on Aiden Levy. This is as far back as we've seen Levy all weekend long here. He doesn't feel too comfortable, it seems like, outside the lead there. So Turney taking advantage of Levy falling back. He's up to P3, but the two shifter car drivers, should I say, like you said, Xander, with the jack of all trades and Brent Cruz pushing Formal away here from Joe Turney. And Brickley actually went through as well on Aiden Levy.
Yeah, everybody going by. The original pole man, Brent Cruz, pushing Danny Formal to get away. Joe Turney trying to close up. Keep an eye on Austin Garrison, though, folks. He just went purple last time by. He's at the end of the frame there with Leo Scorpione close. Fastest driver on the racetrack is the guy from Davie, Florida there in 7th of 50.8 to the leaders 51.0. Austin Garrison's next target, Wisconsin's Brandon Lemke as they go through turn number 6.
Yeah, and the more and more the leaders continue to fight, Austin Garrison may find himself here in contention for a race win here, Xander.
This would be huge if he can get up there. Brent Cruz is also in contention for the double. So is Joe Turney with all the money on the line here this weekend. How hard do you want to fight early? Do you want to try and break away? Brent Cruz happy to push with Formal for now, but the field is catching. That 8-car pack got split apart. Let's see what the gaps look like. A 92 for Formal, an 81 for Turney, a 6 for Austin Garrison. So they're all closing up towards the lead, even though for now it's tame up front. The pack is coming, and Joe Turney will be the next one there as Adam Brickley's under fire. It is Aiden Levy going through back for 4th.
Yeah, Levy now through on Brickley. Let's see if Brickley can follow behind Levy and push him up to Joe Turney. Last time by Turney, a 10th quicker than Brent Cruz. It looks to be even more this time around. He's closed the gap to about 3 kart lengths to your 2 leaders. So how much longer does Brent Cruz wait to get around Formal? Because he can start to sense Joe Turney coming.
Yeah, he knows that Joe Turney's going, and Brent Cruz is going to probably take one more look over the shoulder and see a flurry of white and orange as they climb the hill to 11. Right now, still pretty tame for the front 8. The lap times are fast. As further down the order, at the edge of the top 10, Paulie Massimino has gotten forward. He's just about a second and a half away from Leo Scorpione. He leads Braden Eves and Hayden Jones as they climb the hill back 9th, 10th, and 11th right now through turn number 3. Still a long way to go. A lot more players could get into this one. For now, it's the big guy that leads us over to turn number 5.
Yeah, and at the moment, we're seeing Paulie Massimino work his way up the grid as he is 7 spots up. But contrary to that, AJ Myers down in 12th. He did start further up on this field, but he is 7 spots down from where he started. Definitely not the KA100 race that he would have wanted here, Xander.
No, not at all. Not a good start at all for AJ Myers here. And unfortunately, he's just finally gotten some pace, but he's 5 seconds back from the lead. Up the hill to 11. Cruz still pushing Formal. We'll see what Joe Turney decides to do. I don't know if Brent Cruz is super antsy to go to the lead. I think for now, he knows it's just Joe. They can still keep it pretty small up front if they stay single file. That was a 50.7. Everybody behind them, 50.5s. The fastest is Scorpione at the end of that train. So now Cruz goes. Formal! Wow! He really pinched him tight. Still tight at the exit of 4. Cruz finally gets through, but Danny Formal made him work for it early in this one. They both could have gone out right there, Caleb.
Yeah, definitely. Danny Formal, we've obviously seen him keep his elbows out all race long. He is not going to be bullied around here at this track, and Brent Cruz obviously went for the move, but it was not easy here.
Yeah, Brent Cruz, a solid, aggressive move there on Danny Formal, but all that fighting has brought the two Kart Public drivers, Aiden Levy and Adam Brickley, right back into the mix. So it's a 5-kart train, but look a little further back. The 3 fastest karts on the grid right now, Lemke, Garrison, and Scorpione, they're joining the mix. Garrison's gotten around Lemke right now. He went almost quickest. It was actually Levy that went quickest last time by. Here comes the Speed Concepts OTK of Austin Garrison down the backstretch. Do we see a move? Yes, we do. Turney, late launch. He's through to P2.
Yeah, Danny Formal now on the rear end of Joe Turney, as Danny Formal and Joe Turney are going to fall in line and try to catch right back up to Brent Cruz. But you can't fail to mention here, Xander, probably Massimino is on the move. So is Austin Garrison.
Yeah, I mean, he is still charging, still moving forward with the help of Brandon Lemke now following. I mean, Austin Garrison's speed should be enough to get there, and he's almost into frame as the 5-car field heads up the hill. Let's see, turn 11 this time. Brent Cruz leads us down. We are right up around the halfway marker. 12 laps to go, and we're about 9 deep for the lead here to turn number 1.
I don't know about you, Xander, but I'm starting to sense some deja vu from the pre-final Group A and K senior when it was a 15-kart train. Right now it's 5. There goes Turney inside. He's through. Formal is also through. Cruz going to hold it on the outside. There's no grip there. Formal back to P2. Cruz to third here, but here comes Austin Garrison. Welcome to the party.
Brandon Lemke and Leo Scorpione are still coming as well. They're just as fast as the pack, if not quicker. Look at this, Cruz and Formal together again in turn 8. Again, Danny Formal is only making it harder for guys to get around him, and that right there is now bottling up the pack. Brickley gets through on Levy. Here comes Garrison as well as they go up the hill, and now Austin Garrison is in the top 5, continuing to charge. The forward momentum is on the way of the 329 to turn 1. He looks low. 4-4. Austin Garrison's up another spot. Here comes Levy. Not enough on Brickley as they go to 3.
Yeah, and you saw Austin Garrison trying to size up a move there in the final corner. He thought better of it, and he made the right decision. I mean, you see the quality of Austin Garrison all weekend long. He obviously chose right, and there goes Brickley on Aiden Levy. Cannot get it done here. That's not Brickley, I'm sorry. That's one of the Zanella racing carts.
That's a Scorpione. It was Brickley kind of holding Levy back, and Lemke got around Levy, and then so did a Scorpione, or at least he tried to, couldn't do it. Now with Austin Garrison, he finds himself in a similar spot. Picked off a few more, has to track down the next group by himself. He's got the speed. He's still got laps. 10 to go, but it's the UK man, Joe Turney, trying to go for another big payday. $5,000 already in the bank, looking for 3 more here and a K100 engine to boot. As they go through turn 1, 10 to go.
Yeah, last time around, Formal and Cruz quicker than Joe Turney. Everybody actually behind Turney is quicker. Garrison's on the move. He's bringing Brickley with him. Here we go. Formal inside. He's through. Cruz going to fall him back. Turney's going to provide no challenge at all because he knows if they race any harder, they're going to bring the likes of Garrison, Brickley, Lemke, Levy, Scorpione, and then Massimino has joined the group as well.
One thing to keep in mind here, not only is Brent Cruz a bit of a one-off, but Danny Formal is as well. He hardly ever races these guys. He probably won't see them again for the rest of the season. Does he care if they don't like him because he races them a little hard? Not at all. We saw that Friday night. I don't think it looks any different here in the main event today. Danny Formal will not be denied in his only senior debut on the year, and I think as well there may be a little chip on his shoulder to prove to these single-speed guys that the shifters reign supreme as he climbs the hill.
Yeah, of course, and you can't fail to mention Joe Turney as well, coming down from the X30 class to race K100 senior, and now he's showing his quality, obviously, in the K100 class.
Yeah, so with that pass for Formal, it brings Austin Garrison closer with 8.5 laps to go here. As with we go through turn 6, Adam Brickley and Brandon Lemke are still trying to move forward. That final grouping of Paulie Massimino, Braden Eaves, and A.J. Myers, they've caught up to the back of this lead pack as well. They're starting to make some moves as Massimino is up to the bumper of Aiden Levy. Paulie Massimino from 16th on the grid, continuing to charge forward. Levy falling backwards, and Myers leads the next pack with Hayden Jones and Spencer Conrad up the hill.
Yeah, A.J. Myers has found some pace, Xander, because, I mean, last time you mentioned his name, he was 5 seconds from the lead. It's now 3.4 seconds as Austin Garrison, purple lap time 50.3. He's in the mix now.
2 tenths better than the race leader for Austin Garrison. Joe Turney still riding in the wake there as Garrison closes up. Adam Brickley kind of holding station there in the 5th spot, even to the top 3. 8 laps to go now through turn 6 as the big guy leads them into the infield. Formal on the purple and pink, Allison Performance Group Cosmic. Brent Cruz on that red and white, Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart, Joe Turney on that Kart Republic for Chad Dawkin Racing, and Austin Garrison on that black and white red speed for Speed Concepts Racing out of turn number 9.
Yeah, what a race it has been so far. And all the battling up in front has brought Austin Garrison right back into play as he's now going to be breathing down Joe Turney's neck. Is Brent Cruz going to decide to go here? He does. Down the inside on the big man. Can he get it done? Brent Cruz to the lead.
Nicely done for Brent Cruz there in the RPM Tony Kart. It'd be a big-time statement to hop back in the kart after not racing it all year long to win, but he's going to have to work a lot harder. Formal right back by him. Turney trying to follow through. He runs Cruz to the edge of the racetrack and gets second. Garrison nowhere to go, still 4th.
Yeah, Danny Formal feels comfortable up front. He likes leading. Here comes JT the Brit. Can we see him moving to 8? We do. Joe Turney back to the lead on Danny Formal. Here comes Cruz and Garrison. All this battling though has brought the Fernando Alonso kart of Adam Brickley and the rest of the bunch here. Here comes Levy. Here comes, I believe, that is also a Scorpione and Lemke behind.
Yeah, Brandon Lemke at the back of the frame now in 6th there on that Hotes DD Tony Kart. 6 laps to go. Joe Turney leads the way. He's going to start low lining now. Danny Formal tried to signal him to go forward, and Joe said, I don't believe you. He goes low into 3 as well. Brent Cruz trying to cross over. Big run coming down the backstretch. Formal's got the cavalry. He'll get clear on the outside into 4. So does Brent Cruz.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff here.
Still, Turney, look at this. He gets shuffled back to 4th. They said no thank you to low lining this early. Back to P4. Austin Garrison to 3rd. Formal now goes to the inside into 8, and we've got them all stacked and packed. Lemke on the outside, but he'll have the inside in 9. Adam Brickley's in a bad spot. Here comes Aiden Levy, and here comes Paulie Massimino. Are you kidding me? From 16th. He's in the lead pack with 5 to go.
Massimino now, I thought he was going to go for a move that Adam Brickley couldn't make it stick here, but here we go. Just like we expected, Xander, with 5 laps remaining. 10 karts out front of K. Senior. Levy back through on Lemke. Massimino through on Brickley. Brickley's falling back to the clutches of the Scorpione, but out front, it is still Danny Formal. Cruz has a run, doesn't make it stick. Late lunge, Austin Garrison, he's through to P2.
Austin Garrison into 2nd. Austin Garrison and Danny Formal have been mentors to Brent Cruz over his young career many years ago, and now Cruz is going up against these two. He's already raced them in shifter. He's now racing them in single speed, and his only option at the moment to keep his title of win hopes alive is to push Austin Garrison up to Danny Formal and let the two guys who've grown up racing each other in the great state of Florida go at it for the win. Turney now on Cruz. He'll take over 3rd. He splits the Americans now as Cruz is back to 4th. 4 to go, and KA Senior Danny Formal leads them up the hill.
Yeah, Joe Turney did not want to wait there behind Brent Cruz. He decides to make the move there in lap 4. And now Joe Turney sets his sights on the American. Austin Garrison now behind. You see a little bit more shuffling further on back, but Austin Garrison's going to try to chase down the big man, and Joe Turney's going to follow. Now Paulie Massimino down the inside on Brandon Lemke. Move Paulie Massimino up the order.
Paulie Massimino now cracking on the edge of the top 5 as he's a couple cars back from Levy. Aiden Levy's not gone away just yet, neither is Lemke. They're there, and if Lemke follows Massimino, they'll be back in the pack in no time. 3 to go. Danny Formal leads Austin Garrison up the hill. Here comes Turney, trying the last corner move. Nearly runs him wide. Garrison loses the spot. Turney gets through. Garrison frustrated. He's back to 5th. Joe Turney to 2nd.
Yeah, Turney there just lifted the brakes pretty early, had no intention of not getting around Garrison. Garrison not happy, and rightfully so there, but Turney's through, and now he has his sights set on Danny Formal with 3 laps to go. Cruz in third, Levy's back in the mix in fourth. What can Garrison do now? Back in P5.
Looking through the infield here, big run for Joe Turney. Can he catch Formal off guard? Half a car back, not gonna dive in the hairpin this time, but he's got a little cushion for the moment. Back to Brent Cruz of 2 car lengths. Levy knows that Garrison's antsy to get back by after getting roughed up there in 11. He might have gotten up to second a little bit early. Here comes Turney. Not close enough in 11 this time, but he's where he wants to be. 2 to go. Danny Formal trying to win $7,000. Here comes Joe Turney to the lead in turn 1.
Move the Brit up to P1. What a move by Joe Turney, coming up with 2 to go. Joe Turney up to P2, and now Brent Cruz trying to make a move on Downey Formal on the inside. Joe Turney's going to go on the defense, and they all begin to line up as Austin Garrison finish up this 5-kart battle.
It is anyone's guess who wins this one to turn number 5. Joe Turney, Danny Formal, Brent Cruz, Aiden Levy 4th in line, Austin Garrison 5th. Turney goes low, Formal follows. For now, nothing crazy as they exit the hairpin to turn 9, Alex.
Yeah, Joe Turney still holding on here, but with 1.5 to go, the defense starts, and all this battling has brought Massimino and Lemke back into the mix. This is anybody's guess for who can win it. Round the final corner, Turney goes middle, Formal follows, everybody follows suit here. White flag in the air, Turney to the bottom of the racetrack. Formal, is he going to do a crossover? No, he's going to hold station, gives him the bumper here, up the hill towards turn 2, Xander.
Big run for Austin Garrison, but nowhere to go with it. Turney's got him locked and loaded on the low side. Down the back straightaway. Final time. Joe Turney to the low side. They're going to shove it in the corner. Turney barely makes the turn. They make contact. Brent Cruz. Oh, Danny Formal is out. Danny Formal gets collected out of the bowl. And look at the lead for Joe Turney. The gap to Brent Cruz is 3 car lengths. He knows he's good. Could this be it for Joe Turney? Can he get out of turn 8 good enough? Cruz with a big run. Brent Cruz, nothing to lose. What do you have left out of turn number 9? I don't think he's close enough. Joe Turney adds to the payday. He's headed for $3,000. Joe Turney wins the KA Senior main event.
Unbelievable there from JT, the Brit. And he has a chance later on this afternoon to make it 5K here for the KA Senior class. But what drama. Danny Formal, who led a handful of laps in this race, spun around, and there he is, probably pretty frustrated there with the contacts, Xander.
Yeah, you can understand the frustration. Danny Formal led the most laps in this KA Senior main event. He was so ready to try and bring another big payday to Rollison Performance Group after that Friday night shootout win. And instead, he ends up spun around coming out of turn 4 as they were 2 and 3 wide for second and third. Brent Cruz ends second. Aiden Levy third. Brandon Lemke fourth. Austin Garrison fifth. AJ Myers gets to 6 as he puts one over on Massimino at the end to get through. Massimino fades back to 9th. Spencer Conrad 7th. Braden Eves 8th. Leo Escorpione, the rookie, with a phenomenal run to 10th. Spencer Conrad, the highest finishing rookie, in 7th. The biggest mover gets the MPI Hard Charger Award. That, I believe, is going to go the way of Drew James with a 16-spot improvement to 22nd. Just barely beats out Chase Jones, who picked up 15 spots. That MPI Hard Charger move going the way to him. But 8 spots gained for Joe Turney. He wins the KA Senior main over Cruz, Levy, Lemke, and Austin Garrison here in this one. So what a way to end it in KA Senior. There's a lot to dive through it. Boys, what else do you see from this one?
Yeah, obviously it was an incredible race here all the way through, Alex. I mean, we saw it there. Obviously very unfortunate by Danny Formal. He lost out there in the end, wasn't able to pretty much close out the race. Obviously seems like he got together there with a couple of other guys. And, yeah, very unfortunate by Danny.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Danny Formal, like Xander said, led the most laps in this race, but ends the race in the grass and out of it. So unfortunate there for the RPG driver, but Joe Turney, congratulations to him to win the KA100 shootout, or KA100 senior feature race, and will be competing later on this afternoon in the X30 Pro for a chance at $5,000. We're going to send it on down now to Xander. What you got for us?
Check. All right, so down here with Ryan Norberg, and while we've talked to you a lot about the on-track stuff, we're going to talk a little bit of something cool you're doing. First of all, explain a little bit of what we've got going on here.
So actually this weekend, obviously I have my academy, the Ryan Norberg Karting Academy, and we are here to give away a 2-day all expenses paid, experience to do some coaching and work in the academy for the mini drivers this weekend.
So with that, we've got the entire Mini Swift field here in our cup. They're lined up on the grid. Let's go ahead and shake it up a little bit, Ryan. Don't look on through. And let's find out what Mini Swift driver is going to go to the Norberg Karting Academy. We've got our name. Who do we have?
Junior Kemper.
Tyrone Kemper Jr. You've got yourself a free 2-day training experience with Ryan Norberg here in the Norberg Karting Academy. We'll get with them more again. Thank you for this, Ryan, here. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, Tyrone Kemper Jr. is going to get himself one. Oh, and we're going to get the engines fired up. The Mini Swifts are ready to go. Cameron Marcia won a phenomenal Mini Swift pre-final earlier today. He's going to lead off Lucas Palacio, Marco Samet, Bowen Green, and the rest of the field as they leave the grid. Fellas?
Yeah, thanks, Xander. I mean, first of all, I got to say, how cool is that for Ryan Norberg, what he's doing for these Mini Swift drivers here. Tyrone Kemper Jr. winning out for the Norberg Academy. He's going to have a 2-day there with one of the best drivers in the nation. That being said, though, Caleb, we're about to go feature racing for the Mini Swift kids.
And we've seen it all weekend, man. It's been Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit. They have been super quick all weekend. Cameron Marshall has been in there as well as Marco Samet has been in there as well. Luke Giglio, we saw him after a very unfortunate crash early on in the heats on Friday. We saw him lose out, and obviously a work up the field for him. But Ashton Woon as well wasn't the heat race that he would have wanted, as he's going to try to work his way back up. Royce Vega as well. It's going to be one for the ages here, Alex.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of incredible talent here in the Mini Swift class. They've continuously put on some of the best races we've seen all weekend long, and I expect more of the same here in the feature race. Cameron Marcia leading them to the green with Palacio on his outside. We saw Lucas Palacio in the pre-final go defensive with about 7 to go here. I don't know if we'll see that again here, because I don't know if I quite agreed with that. With him backing up the pack, it ended up costing him a chance of the win. So we'll see if we'll see more of the same with that. The biggest story, like you said, Caleb, earlier was Palacio and Pettit. They seem to always find each other on the racetrack and work together very well. So the two Trinity Karting Group Kart Public drivers are going to probably try to work together once again. Pettit starting a little bit further back than Palacio there in P2. Travis Pettit, P6. But quickly, down your order, it's your front row of Cameron, Marcia, Palacio on his outside. Marco Samet has had a really solid heats and pre-finals. He finds himself in third position. Bowen Green on that Timmy Tech Comp Kart in row 2, P4. Troy Ferguson on the Bennick. He's put together some very consistent finishes to find himself in 5th. Travis Pettit, Lucas Palacio's teammate, he's outside of row 3 in P6. Then it's Ashton Woon to his outside, Royce Vega. Then it is Thomas Chrisman and Marco Romero. And then the likes of Junior Lewis and Felipe Benito. They're in the tram lines, getting ready to get set to go green here. They're on the gas a little bit early here, but let's see if they're going to go green nonetheless. Green flag is in the air. Cameron Marcia gets a good start. Palacio on the outside. Is Samet going to go through? He does. Marco Samet on the Lando Norris go-kart up to P2. Palacio down to 3rd. I thought he was going to peek a nose there, but doesn't. Troy Ferguson has found himself already in the P4. And the master of race starts every single time we go around, Ashton Woon to the 5th.
Yeah, what a start there by Ashton Woon, and Cameron Marshall with an amazing start there on the inside, and right behind him, Marco Samet, obviously a very good start by him, and Lucas Palacio. Seems like he hasn't had the race starts that he would have wanted. Now he's falling into the clutches of Royce Vega here. Bowen Green in there as well in the mix, and now Marco Samet going defensive on Lucas Palacio. Marco Samet knows that Lucas Palacio is super quick, but he doesn't want to give any space as Travis Pettit drops 2 tires into the grass, and he cannot get it done as Lucas Palacio and Marco Samet get together a little bit, but through goes Royce Vega. Can he get it done? He cannot for now. Travis Pettit in there as well. What a move there.
Yeah, there's Ashton Woon now giving the side pod to Bowen Green. Bowen Green's going to lose a handful of spots. There goes Romero. There goes Chrisman. And maybe one other. Bowen Green down 5, 6 positions. Bowen Green from 4th to outside the top 10 here, Caleb.
Yeah, and as the action picks up here with the Mini Swifts, we are going to pick up on some of the action with Xander. Down to you, Xander.
Thank you, Caleb. Let's go down here to Brent Cruz side by side. For we were just talking right before, what amazing racing action here. You've done so many different disciplines, and to be a part of that, that looks about as hard as it comes to try and outsmart everyone.
Yeah, it's super tough, right? I mean, I felt like we were the fastest piece, but you get stuck up behind somebody and you're trying to push them away from the field, but that'll never happen. And then you try to make a pass and think you're going to pull away because you're the best kart, and then you got a whole train that comes right in behind you. So definitely teaches you a new type of racing. Haven't really been in the K much at all this year, so to be able to get a good finish for all RPM is just super cool.
It's always good to come away with a little bit of a cash purse here. You're no stranger to that, being a dirt racer, running everything that you've won so far in Trans Am. But to be here this weekend, to have a good shot, to come up second, can you give guys a little bit of an insight of those final 2 laps for you? What was going through your head with all the craziness?
Yeah, I was just waiting for Danny to do something right, to try to move turning out of the way or get beside him or something and just leave the door open for me. But he tried and left the door open for me, and I got him. And then Turney just got a gap, and I didn't get enough laps to be able to catch him. But it was a pretty great race.
Heck of a race here. And again, you got another one. We're not sure exactly where you line up for X30, but a heck of a pre-final after some so-so runs in the heats here. How good do you feel, at least in the package, not knowing where you start for X30 Pro?
Yeah, I feel like we were one of the best karts in the pre-final there. So I'm pretty confident with the piece they gave me for the pre-final, and we'll see what we can do at the final.
All right, that's Brent Cruz here, P2 at the end of it unofficially in KA Senior. We'll let him go and get back set for X30 Pro. Send it back to you guys, see who more we can track down from that crazy KA Senior main event.
Yeah, thanks, Xander. Back out on your screener, 17 laps to go. It's been a pretty chaotic race for third on back. Right now, it's pretty smooth sailing for your leader, Cameron Marsha, who has a 5/10 lead over Marco Samet. But last time by, Samet closed the gap by 2/10, and Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit, I mean, what do you know it? They're third and fourth, working together pretty well here. The Trinity Karting Group, Kart Republics are line astern here, but Palacio had a pretty chaotic opening couple of laps there. Had to go defensive on the likes of Ashton Woon there, but he's back through into third place. See if he can get his head down now and catch up to Marco Samet. It looks to be a much better lap here for the drivers of Palacio, Pettit, and Woon, now last year's winner, looking to back that up with a win this year.
Yeah, definitely wasn't the start that Lucas Palacio would have wanted, but now he has his Trinity Karting Group teammate right behind him of Travis Pettit and Ashton Woon in there as well, as more of the Bennecks fill up the rest of the field, and Royce Vega in there as well. Last time by, the fastest lap keeps shuffling down the field. Royce Vega in the Bennett goes fastest last time by, as he is trying to chase down Ashton Woon here at the moment. Travis Pettit in front of him. Lucas Palacio and Marco Samet. A little bit of a gap in between Lucas Palacio, Travis Pettit, and Marco Samet. Marco Samet a little bit further on ahead, but Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit, we've seen it all year long. They're going to work together. They're going to freight train each other to try to catch right back up to Marco Samet, as we're seeing that gap closed down by the second, Alex.
Yeah, all aboard the Trinity Karting Group train. Lucas Palacio has carried Travis Pettit, Ashton Woon, Royce Vega, Troy Ferguson. They're right back in the mix. They weren't in the same frame last lap. Now we can fit 6 karts in the same frame. They are absolutely flying with 15 and a half to go. Cameron Marsha still your leader, but here comes Marco Samet on board the BJR Lando Norris go-kart. He's caught up to Cameron Marsha. So too has Palacio and Pettit. Let's see the lap times this time by. Palacio and Pettit are 5/10 faster than your leaders, Caleb.
Goodness gracious, these kids are flying already in the 53.636 for Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit. Travis Pettit was the fastest kid on track last time by, and these kids are flying. I just really hope they don't fall out of these go-karts here, Alex.
Yeah, right now it's still Cameron Marshall, your leader, but now it is a 7-kart train in Mini Swift with 15 to go, just as we expected. But Marco Samet, one of the drivers that we really haven't seen all too much in the front. He put together some consistent heats and a pre-final, and he found himself in P2, but not for much longer. The gold helmet of Lucas Palacio goes to second. Pettit follows through. Side-to-side contact. Woon forces his way through on Marco Samet. So from second to fifth now for Marco Samet, and there's the Bennett of Royce Vega right behind him.
And now the 2 Trinity Karting Group drivers are going to chase down Cameron Marsha as they see him in the distance. Cameron Marsha is going to look over his shoulder at some point. He does now. Sees Lucas Palacio on his rear. Now he's going to pretty much start to pick up the pace here, as Cameron Marsha is going to want to try to get away from Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit, who have been absolutely flying all weekend long, and they are doing it here once again as they close down the gap, down the back straight. Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit down the inside into the bowl. Lucas Palacio up to P1, and Travis Pettit right behind him.
Yeah, now let's see the pace of Cameron Marsha in the group here, because Marsha has been used to leading. He's led for 6 laps so far, but now it is Palacio and Pettit. When does Palacio start to defend? We saw in the pre-final, it took him with 7 to go, and he defended for the next 7 laps. Does Palacio try to defend, or does he try to see if Pettit and him can pull away? That being said, we're going to sit side by side here. Xander, what you got for us?
Well, we're down here with Danny Formal, a big part of that crazy pack. You led a good chunk of that main event. You did what you thought you needed to try and get away, working with Brent and then racing hard to keep yourself in the top 3. First of all, walk us through what you saw on that final lap.
A little bit of, Days of Thunder, a little bit bumping, a little bit of racing. Yeah, I got bumped a little bit by Brent into the bowl, just enough for him to get under me, and I try to hold the outside of him, and Levy, clipped my tire, ran me over, just spun me. Full racing incident. No, I already went to talk to Levy, so everything good. just a little, frustrated. It is what it is. It's racing. Obviously, we wanted to go back-to-back. I think we had a good chance. Joe was blocking quite aggressively. I don't know if I could have passed him, but, I could have tried. But anyways, super grateful for the opportunity. First time ever running KA in my life, and to be able to compete against these guys, showing how good the program is under RPG. This came together about 15 days ago when Mike told me I wanted to race, made me lose all the weight. I raced with a 5-pounder on the kart, so super proud of that. Let's see what we could do. I think a KA senior program is as good as all of our programs, so it just proved it. A guy that's a little bit bigger than everyone else, be able to keep up with the small guys like Joe and all the other guys that are in racing X30 and racing single speed during the whole year, and me coming and never running MG Red's first time ever, and the KA. It shows how good the program is. I want to say thank you again to all the mechanics. Chris, he's been helping me. BBS, the engines were fantastic this weekend, and let's see what happens. Maybe I could do another couple races KA this year. I really enjoyed it, and now we focus to Summer Nats in 2 weeks, do KZ there, and hopefully feel a little bit of more speed.
Yeah, hopefully a little more. I know the engine issues that plagued you guys a little bit at a couple races this year on that Vortex KZ, but going back to KA in that one, talk about that power move down the back straightaway with the help of everybody, Freight Train and Joe. That had to feel like Superman in that moment.
Yeah, for sure. I saw Joe try to outside pass in the heat and couldn't do it, so I'm like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it on him. So, yeah, let's say that was the highlight of the day, a nice outside pass, showing my kids that I never always tell them never go on the outside, and I did that time. So my whole cart was ahead of him, so the outside works. So, super grateful again, and let's see what happens next.
Well, Danny, even in defeat here again, great racing. Obviously, a nice little payday, some beer money for the mechanics that worked so hard to put it on for you. And Class Act, as always, is great to talk to you, great to see you, and we're excited to have you back in 2 weeks for the Summer Nats. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.
All right, that's Danny Formal, again, our Friday night winner. Unfortunately, not able to get it done in the main event, but he put on one heck of a show. Back to you, boys.
Thank you, Xander. One heck of a show indeed that he put on. Back out on the Mini Swift class. 10 laps to go here. Nothing has really changed besides Travis Pettit took the lead over from Lucas Palacio. It's a really mature drive from these four drivers. Ashton Woon falling a little bit further back from Cameron Marshall than he would have liked. He can't afford to do that for too much longer with how important the draft is in this low horsepower Mini Swift category. But right now it's still Pettit, your leader. Palacio second. Cameron Marshall holding station there behind the two TKG drivers. And then his last year's winner, Ashton Woon. And then about a second back is Troy Ferguson, who was faster than the four guys ahead of him, and so too was Marco Samet. So that group behind them, they are coming here with 9.5 to go.
Yeah, we have seen absolutely fireworks all weekend long in between all four of these drivers. Obviously, Ashton Woon has experience. He knows what it takes to win this race here, Alex. Cameron Marshall as well. He's in there as well as Marco Samet further on back. But here at the moment, Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit still in the lead of this race. Cameron Marshall giving a little bit of a love tap there to Lucas Palacio, trying to tell him, hey, let's go. I'm still pretty quick here. And Cameron Marshall is letting Lucas Palacio know. Lucas Palacio, though, he's going to stick with his teammate here all the way through. And we've seen it before here. We've seen them fight with 2 laps to go, and they leave nothing on the table here, Alex.
Yeah, Ashton Woon needs to be careful. He's lost a handful of ground here to the guys ahead of him. I mean, if he could find himself in no man's land if he can't catch up. But Marshall's going to help here, I think. Oh, I thought he was going to go for a move. He doesn't. Oh, a little bobble there under braking from Cameron Marshall. That's going to help Ashton Woon. He's now back in the mix, and Woon is going to catch up to Marshall now. This is going to close the gap between the top 10 here. But so far, it's still Pettit leading Palacio, the two teammates here. No plan of passing each other this time around with 8 to go. Here comes the BJR Lando Norris driver of Marco Samet. He's carrying Troy Ferguson with him. What are the lap times? Samet and Ferguson, their personal best, 2:10 quicker than the 4 ahead of them.
And Ashton Woon decided to go there on Cameron Marshall. Ashton Woon believes that he was a little bit faster. And Xander was saying earlier on today that 3rd place was the position to be in. Whenever 1 and 2 start going at it, 3 is going to be there to pick up the leftovers if he can create a big enough gap back into 4th. But here at the moment, Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio, we've seen it all year long. These guys are going to push each other, stay in each other's drafts, and try to push and freight train each other forward further to try to open up the gap to Ashton Woon and Cameron Marshall here, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, these two teammates are going to work together until 1 to go here, and I'm sure the team is along the fence line telling them to please keep pushing, but Ashton Woon has put together a solid handful of corners here, and he's closed the gap. I suspect a really good lap here from Ashton Woon this time around. And here comes Marco Samet, too. That gap is closing. What are the lap times this time around? Trevor across the line here. Woon is faster. Marsha's faster. Marco Salmon is the fastest. A 53.4. He's gained 4/10 on your leader. He's on the same screen now as everybody else. It is an 8-kart train for Mini Swift. Palacio looks over his shoulder. Sees the gap is still big enough. Doesn't have to worry about Ashton Woon. But I'll tell you this much. Marsha has to worry about Marco Salmon here, Caleb.
Welcome to the party, Marco Salmon. And along with him, he is bringing his friends, Troy Ferguson and Thomas Chrisman. All these guys are going to begin to battle for the lead here as Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit still try to work their way further up on the field. Ashton Woon stands in P3, Cameron Marsha in 4, and Marco Salmon, the really fast Marco Salmon, is trying to work his way up to the rear end of Cameron Marsha.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much, Caleb. I mean, the two teammates of Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio here, how much longer do they keep working together before they start getting defensive? Right now, they actually pulled away a bit from Ashton Woon. They actually separated themselves by about a 10th over the 3 behind him. But Marco Salmon all over the bumper now of Cameron Marsha. He has left Ferguson and Chrisman behind. Marco Salmon once again purple, 53.4 in back-to-back laps. Here goes Marsha to the inside. He's through. Salmon's through as well. Ashton Woon on the gold helmet, last year's winner. He falls back to 5th. But here comes Cameron Marsha. He's going to lead Marco Salmon up to the front here. Travis Pettit seems to be a little bit quicker than Lucas Palacio at this stage in the race. But Marsha right now is the fastest, as well as Marco Salmon here, Caleb.
And Marco Salmon realizes that he's going to push Cameron Marsha all the way up to try to beat the two Trinity Karting Group drivers of Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio. We've seen it here before. Cameron Marsha has the speed to be there. He has the speed to beat both of these guys, as we saw Cameron Marsha take the early on. He took the win here in the pre-final early on, and now Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio. Lucas Palacio looks over his shoulders. He knows Cameron Marsha is on his way, and along with him, he's going to bring Marco Salmon as Cameron Marsha improves his lap time last time by.
Yeah, Marsha and Salmon 3/10 faster than the two TKG Car Republics of Pettit and Palacio. Here they are, bumper to bumper now. It is a 5-kart train for Mini Swift. Pettit may have to start defending from his teammate soon, and Palacio knows it because Palacio can sense the pressure of Marsha, exiting 6th. Down the hill towards turn 7, one of the best pass opportunities. It is a turn 8, hard braking hairpin. Nothing to it here. They're going to say single file. Here comes the likes of Troy Ferguson and Thomas Chrisman as well. They're going to arrive on the scene anytime soon. Travis Pettit still your leader, carrying Palacio around, but Marsha knows that the two teammates are going to want to work together. He's going to try to split them anytime now. Here goes Palacio. He's tired of being second. Palacio to the point.
Lucas Palacio now leads once again. Here comes Cameron Marsha to the inside with help from Marco Salmon. Trying for second. Pettit on the outside. Not able to get through as they climb the hill. Back to single file. Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit with an opportunity potentially to pull away. But Travis Pettit, does he want to finally get the monkey off his back and get the win and dump Lucas Palacio? Just let him fall back into the pack? For now, he'll stay as a loyal pusher through turn number 6, Caleb.
Travis Pettit at the moment pushing Lucas Palacio. Like you said it, is Travis Pettit going to attempt to move? But no, Ashton Woon is down the inside on Marco Salmon, and Ashton Woon up in a P4 here.
Yeah, the biggest thing we saw Lucas Palacio start defending there with 3.5 to go. So it starts now. Lucas Palacio has started to defend on his own teammate. Like you said, Xander, though, how much longer does Travis Pettit want to play second fiddle to Lucas Palacio? He wants to get that monkey off his back. He wants to get that national victory. So far, so good. Pushing Lucas Palacio away from Cameron Marsha, but Marsha is going to hold strong here in third.
Here they go up the hill. You can still see all the hand signals. Everyone wanting to say to work together because they know that the two Trinity Karting Group Kart Republics are going to try and do that up front. Cameron Marsha is one driver by his lonesome here. A privateer pit spot for the Marsha Motorsports Nitro Kart. He's got no teammates in the pack. There's a couple of Bennecks in there. There's, of course, the TKG Kart Republics. There's Ashton Woon by himself on that Super Tune USA Paralyn as well. So where you've got help, you use it. Where you don't, you've got to fend for yourself and try to really make up for that lack of the fact. Same for Marco Salmon there on the BJR MDRLN kart, back in the 6th position. Out of the Turn 9 complex. It'll be 2 to go this time. How long do you two remain friends? Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit with 2 laps to go and a main event win on the line.
Travis Pettit gives a signal to Lucas Palacio to keep going, to keep working forward. And here, we are surprised here in the booth. I thought Travis Pettit was going to try to size up a move on Lucas Palacio here.
Exiting turn 3, downhill towards turn 4. Palacio, does he defend on his teammate? No, he doesn't. No moves being made anywhere in the field right now. Palacio's going to hold strong on his teammate. He has the advantage of his teammate being behind him. But right now, I think Cameron Marsha is in the strongest spot here, Xander.
Yeah, we're just waiting to see Travis Pettit finally get the move done and complete it. He's been so close so many times. Down to the hairpin. He says, Lucas, keep going forward. Not yet. He wants to duel him on the final lap. That still is a good play from Travis's point of view because right now there's only Cameron Marcia. If he starts to battle now, well, we're going to have about 4 more join the party in the form of Woon, Ferguson, Samet, all in tow, and even Thomas Chrisman not too far back there on the full tilt racing machine is wide for Travis Pettit out of turn 11, but he gets a big run into turn 1 to the bumper of Palacio.
Here comes a crossover from Marcia incoming. Nothing to it there, but like you said, Xander, that's going to stack the field up. Here comes Woon in 4th. Down the back straightaway. Does Palacio defend? All the way to the bottom. Does Pettit have any more room? No, he doesn't. They're going to say single file here in 4, Xander.
All the way low as well behind for Ashton Woon, defending from Troy Ferguson. But they're all lined up. Single file all the way back to the full tilt racing BJR MDR entry of Thomas Chrisman. Final time to the infield. Pettit backed up to get a run. He's got it. What does he do with it? He goes to the bumper of Palacio. Maybe tries to move him up the groove. Not going to happen. Lucas Palacio still the leader to turn 9. Final time through double right. Is anything going to happen? Last turn, last lap. Here we go. Lucas Palacio versus Travis Pettit. Pettit finds a hole down low. Travis Pettit in the final turn. Here comes Cameron Marcia at the line. Marcia! Cameron Marcia wins the IAME Grand National Championship by just a matter of 5 thousandths of a second.
Alex, and you said it yourself, Cameron Marcia in P3, he was in the best spot that he could be there coming into the last lap. Finished from P3, wins the end of this race. Travis Pettit went for the move in the last corner, and Cameron Marcia, you said it yourself, from P3, goes home to finish this race in 1st.
What did we just witness? I'm actually surprised for how much Palacio defended on that final lap. He left the door wide open in turn 11. I don't know if he thought that his teammate wouldn't go through, but he did. And Palacio actually from 1st to 3rd. I got to say that top 4 separated by less than a 1/10 of a second. You can't ask for much better racing in Mini Swift.
Awesome stuff here from Mini Swift. Congratulations to Cameron Marcia. What a weekend. What a win for the number 114 Marcia Motorsports Nitro Kart. He puts one over on the TKG Kart Republics. Travis Pettit will have to wait. It's Cameron Marcia in victory lane at the IAME Grand National Championship here at Trackhouse Motorplex. More to come. It's 2 more mains to follow. X30 Junior and X30 Pro are next.
Welcome back to the IAME Grand Nationals from X30 Junior. We are here at Trackhouse Motorplex Park. My name is Caleb Vieska, and here at the moment, alongside me here in the booth is the man himself, Alexander Searle. We have seen a handful of races that have been absolutely electric, and another one of these, a storyline that has been playing out all year long. It's Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller on the front row once again.
Yeah, Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller seem to always find themselves on the same piece of tarmac throughout the entirety of the year. Steven Miller and Ernesto Rivera have been the quickest junior drivers so far throughout the year. The biggest thing, though, to mention is Steven Miller. He won the KA junior race. That means if he wins the X30 junior race, there's a big bonus for him because he's going to sweep the junior class. So I believe it is $5K for him to win this class. So it's a big incentive for the DAP Kart driver to try to get around the RPG Cosmic of Ernesto Rivera. But right now, this weekend at least, Ernesto Rivera has been the man to beat. Steven Miller has had something to say about it throughout the entirety of the weekend right now, but the biggest downside that he has is that he's in an RPG sandwich.
Yeah, of course, and Jackson Warney has been there as well. Jackson Warney obviously was not there, and he wasn't that close when it came time earlier on in the KA 100 race, but now Jackson Warney is back in the mix here as we are getting set to go green and X30 Junior. Steven Miller is going to line up alongside Ernesto Rivera on the front row. We've seen it multiple times as, one of the X30 drivers there, not too sure who that is. I think that's the 119. That's a Tony Kart there.
That's Mateo Pappas there, falling to the back of the line. That's where he's starting. I think he just wasn't able to get going underway out of the pits, but he's able to slot in line here. But here we go in the tram lines. Rivera, Miller, Wolney, McMurray, Dupuis, your top five. Ernesto is on the gas early. Green flag in the air. It's an RPG 1-2, but around the outside. Miller's going to try it. Can't make it stick. Oh, what a start from Enzo Vidmontien, up into the top 6 already. But Ernesto Rivera, the dream start for him.
Yeah, what a dream start by Ernesto Rivera, as now his teammate Warney's going to defend from Steven Miller in behind. And now we see as well further on back, I think that's Nathan Dupuis trying to defend as well. And here we have, as it stands at the moment, it's a 1-2 for the RPGs, and right behind him, it's the really fast Steven Miller down the inside on Jackson Warney. Moves Steven Miller up to P2.
What a late launch from Steven Miller, even on the cold tires and on the marbles too. Found grip where nobody else could. Steven Miller up to P2, but already the lead for Ernesto Rivera. You see the hand in the air for Miller saying, don't fight me, push me forward. But how much does Wolney want to help out Miller? Because Wolney, the teammate of Ernesto Rivera, doesn't want Miller to win, obviously. Here comes Nathan Dupuis in fourth on the SCR OTK. He's brought McMurray in the mix. And I believe a little further back, that might have been Keelan Harvick up in a P6. I think it is.
Yeah, what a drive by Keelan Harvick so far. As you see him now coming in a frame, and right behind him, Enzo Vidmontien. As there's going to be a move there by one of the RPG drivers. I think that's Nathan Dupuis down the inside.
Yeah, what a move from Nathan Dupuis. So Dupuis still up in the 4th place there. Ernesto Rivera, the gap is closing ever so slightly. There he is. There's the man, Keelan Harvick on the RPG Cosmic, closing the gap as we see a move from Davin Roberts on the inside of a backpedaling Enzo Vidmontien, who hasn't had the start he would have wanted after going up to P5. He's down in P9 now, but here comes Keelan Harvick closing the gap on Carter McMurray. So yeah, the sons of Jamie McMurray and Kevin Harvick line astern 5th and 6th. So what a run for them in both of their IAME junior debuts.
Yeah, both IAME junior debuts, and it seems like they have been racing for many years now. You see Keelan Harvick up the rear end of McMurray. Is Keelan Harvick going to go for a move here? Can he get it done down the inside? Cannot. Keelan Harvick, he does get the move done on McMurray, and now he's up another spot.
Keelan Harvick, last time by, he goes purple, 2/10 quicker than anybody else on the racetrack. 49.789. Look at the run he has on Nathan Dupuis. Inside, he's through. There goes Keelan Harvick up into 4th position. McMurray's going to try to follow through side by side through turn 8 and turn 9. Crossover incoming. Not going to make it stick here. But Keelan Harvick is a man on a mission. So too is Steven Miller. Miller has closed the gap tremendously. What are the lap times this time around? I suspect purple for Miller. Here we go. Across the line. Steven Miller, he's purple. 4/10 faster. So too is Harvick. Keelan Harvick is absolutely flying.
Welcome to the party. Keelan Harvick he's going to try to chase down Jackson Warney. Steven Miller now sees the rear bumper, but Keelan Harvick up in a P3. What a drive by the youngster, the rookie here in X30 Junior. Gets it done, and Keelan Harvick moves his way up to P3 and now sets his sights on Steven Miller and Ernesto Rivera.
Keelan Harvick started this race in P9, and only 2.5 laps in, he's up 6 positions. He must have strapped a rocket ship to the back of his go-kart right now. What a run for Keelan Harvick, and Steven Miller as well has closed the gap to Ernesto Rivera here. These two have had a controversy all year long, the two quickest junior drivers in every event we go to. Miller has a run. Do we see one in the one? He looks back, and Steven Miller doesn't make a move here. Last time by, what do you know it? Keelan Harvick goes purple. 2/10 faster than the two drivers ahead of him. Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller still working together, but Keelan Harvick is closing that gap, and Wolney behind him has brought Nathan Dupuis back into the mix. It is a 5-car breakaway out front in the IAME junior class.
It has been the Ernesto and Stephen Miller show all year long, but here comes the guest star. Keelan Harvick has joined the party and now chasing down Stephen Miller. He has his sight sets on him. He's breathing down his neck, and along with Keelan Harvick comes Jackson Wolney.
Yeah, here comes Keelan Harvick's teammate Jackson Wolney with the green gloves there, the white suit. He's brought Nathan Dupuis with him. Look at the closing speed that Stephen Miller has there in the final corner. Does Miller work with Ernesto Rivera? Does he try to go around him? Last time by, who's purple? Jackson Wolney is. But 49 threes and 49 twos across the board. These top 5, the class of the field right now in X30 Junior. This last time around, Wolney was faster than Harvick. Do we see moving to 4? No, we don't. By no driver right now. Miller still content to be behind Ernesto Rivera, just like we saw in the KA100 class.
Yeah, and it seems like Keelan Harvick has made up a whole lot of time to Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera. But I think now what he's lacking is that little bit of a push there from Jackson Wolney on behind, who was purple last time by. And I think Jackson Wolney knows it as well. So Keelan Harvick here at the moment just needs that little bit of a push there from Jackson Wolney as he wants to get up and fight with Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera here, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be surprised at this point with Stephen Miller looking back there. He sees the gap that they've developed on Keelan Harvick, who his progress seems to have come to a halt just a little bit here. But last time by, I mean, Keelan Harvick, personal best of 49.2, a 10th faster than your leader last time by. Nathan Dupuis, the back of this train goes purple, 49.1. Ernesto Rivera had a good couple of corners. He's pulled away from Miller a little bit, and Miller falling to the clutches now of the RPG driver. Miller in a full sandwich of purple and blue of the RPG Cosmics. So Miller now, instead of worrying about Ernesto Rivera, has to start beginning to worry about the son of Kevin Harvick, Keelan Harvick.
Yeah, Keelan Harvick now, he is going to catch up there to Stephen Miller in a couple laps time, maybe seconds time, as Stephen Miller, seems like Stephen Miller has a much better exit out of turn A here. I'm just noticing you, Alex, and here we have Ernesto Rivera. Seems like he's a little bit faster down the straights, and now Stephen Miller is going to try. He's on the rear end still of Ernesto Rivera as it stands. Is Stephen Miller going to try to look for a move? He taps the back of his helmet, tells Keelan Harvick, let's work our way up and try to get past Ernesto Rivera.
Here comes Keelan Harvick, all over the back bumper of the DAP car to Stephen Miller. Can we see a move down to the turn 4 this time around? We do, and it's Stephen Miller. What a late launch on Ernesto Rivera, pushes him wide. Keelan Harvick is through. Keelan Harvick up to P2. Ernesto now falls back to P3 and into the clutches of his teammate Jackson Wolney, Caleb.
Yeah, and what a move there by Keelan Harvick, and I think here at the moment, as the fight on track develops, Xander is going to take us trackside to break down some fights that happened earlier on track. Back to you, Xander.
My goodness, what a main event in Mini Swift. Cameron Marsha, you are the IAME Grand National Champion. I know you've tried a bunch of over-unders before. We were even talking here during the lunch break about you wanted to do it in the pre-final when there was so much blocking, but everybody was lined up and you couldn't. That final corner, did you even know the gap out back, or were you just risking it all?
I looked back going into turn 11, and I saw that we had just a little bit of a gap to Ashton, and then I just went for it, and then we got a little help from Ashton, and we made it across the line by 5 thousandths.
Yeah, that's about as close as it comes to get your first big national win in the mini class. What a way to pull it off here at the IAME Grands. First of all, who do you have to thank here, because it's such a big team effort to get your go-kart going so good?
Connor Zillich, my coach, my dad, my mom, and my mechanic. Yeah, Mike.
Can't forget Mike here. Cameron, what a boost of confidence. Does it feel like there's maybe a little bit of a weight lifted off your shoulder now? You finally got a big win?
Yeah, we've had pace all weekend, but yeah, this is the only one that matters.
That's it. You've got yourself a new Mini Swift engine. You are now an IAME Grand National Champion. How does it feel?
It feels pretty good, Xander.
There you go. That's Cameron Marsha, your Mini Swift winner, in a fantastic finish, the closest on the weekend so far at 5,000. Congrats, Cam.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Xander. Cameron Marsha sounding like a pro there on the interviews. What a run there. Yeah, what a run for that mini driver. As we see a move down, Jackson Wolney to the inside, Stephen Miller. While we were side by side, Miller went from first to fourth, and we saw for about a lap and a half the son of Kevin Harvick, Keelan Harvick. He took the lead. Ernesto took it back, and now it's a bit of a breakaway here out front. It's an RPG. 1, 2, 3. Does Stephen Miller have anything for it, though? He's racing, obviously, for $5,000 in this one.
Yeah, and it seems like there is no team orders here as the 3 RPG drivers are going to begin to go at it here as Keelan Harvick now on the rear end of Ernesto Rivera. Ernesto Rivera's going to lead both of them down the straight. Can Keelan Harvick get a move done? He cannot for the moment. And now Stephen Miller ahead of that RPG driver of Jackson Warney. Stephen Miller back up in a P3, and it seems like Stephen Miller has caught himself up in a couple of battles, and he's losing touch little by little with Keelan Harvick and Ernesto Rivera, who stay in line. But Stephen Miller is ever so quick, and he's going to catch right back up. And with him, he's going to bring Jackson Warney, and you cannot forget about the fastest man on track at the moment, Nathan Dupuis.
Yeah, the big question is, I mean, Keelan Harvick showed such tremendous pace for the early half of this race. 8 laps in, about 11 laps to go. I mean, does Keelan Harvick have more in the tank? I mean, is his kart that fast? Or maybe it was some tire pressures or kart setup. We'll see here with 11 to go. But Keelan Harvick seems to still be the quickest guy on the racetrack. What a run down to turn 4. Do we see a move? No, we don't. He's content to push Ernesto Rivera. But right now, Stephen Miller last time around, 2/10 faster than the leaders. He goes purple, 49-1. So here comes the DAP kart, the Chad Docking Racing driver of Stephen Miller. He's joined the fray. 3-kart breakaway out front, next 30 Jr. What an exit Ernesto Rivera got. He separates himself just a little bit over his teammate, but here comes Stephen Miller. I bet Keelan Harvick is going to look back soon and see that Miller is all over the tail of his go-kart. He might have to make a move on his teammate soon, Caleb.
Yeah, of course, and I think Keelan Harvick's going to recognize that here shortly, as he's going to try to make a move here on Ernesto Rivera, but their lap times have been so close in time as they cross the line once again, and Stephen Miller goes a little bit faster last time by, does not go purple, but keeps his lap times so fast. And Keelan Harvick still behind Ernesto Rivera as Ernesto Rivera tries to pull away from Keelan Harvick, but Keelan Harvick still on that rear bumper of Ernesto Rivera here.
Yeah, Keelan Harvick so strong for the first 3 to 4 corners there, all over the bumper of Ernesto Rivera. This is where Ernesto Rivera has shown all weekend long how good his go-kart is handling. You can see the runs he gets out of turn 6 and 7. Makes it so difficult for drivers to get around him into one of the best passing opportunities on the racetrack in the turn 8 hairpin there. So right now, Keelan Harvick just doing enough to hold off Miller, not enough to get up to Ernesto Rivera right now. Ernesto Rivera, again, another great exit out of the turn 8 and 9 double rights through the final corner now in turn 11. Keelan Harvick struggling just a little bit in the final couple corners, but again, a solid lap time for Keelan Harvick, staying within the draft of Ernesto Rivera. Speaking of the draft, the drivers in 4th and 5th of Nathan Dupuis and Jackson Warney have fallen off the tail end of this group of 3, Caleb.
Yeah, it seems like Jackson Warney has fallen off a little bit, and right behind them, Nathan Dupuis obviously in there as well. Teddy Masella, Oliver Weldon up in 6th spot. He's up 2 spots from where he started. Carter McMurray has not been the race that he would have wanted so far. He is down in 7th, but Oliver Weldon improving his lap times. That's down the inside on Keelan Harvick. Stephen Miller takes away P2 from Keelan Harvick. Now Stephen Miller is going to try to catch right back up to Ernesto Rivera. It's been Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller all year long, and we're seeing it once again. This battle begins to unfold with 9 laps to go. Ernesto Rivera crosses the start-finish line. 9 laps to go. How long can Ernesto Rivera maintain that gap to Stephen Miller and the fast-charging Keelan Harvick?
I got to say, speaking of fast charging, here comes Jackson Warney. Last time around, the fastest driver on the racetrack. He's closed the gap to the top 3. It's now a 4-kart breakaway out front. They have left the Speed Concepts Racing OTK of Nathan Dupuis. Stephen Miller, what a good couple corners he put together. He's back all over the bumper of Ernesto Rivera with 8.5 laps to go. Ernesto Rivera, it is not as smooth sailing as it has been throughout the weekend for the RPG Cosmic driver there. He might look back soon and see an eyeful of orange and red of the DAP go-kart of Stephen Miller, who has left Keelan Harvick in the dust right now.
Yeah, and Keelan Harvick has to keep his head down, has to start working back to try and catch right back up to Stephen Miller. But Stephen Miller at the moment breathing down in Ernesto Rivera's neck. It has been these two all weekend long. We saw it in K100 Junior. We are seeing it again here in X30 Junior. Last time out, Ernesto Rivera was able to beat Stephen Miller in X30, and Stephen Miller was able to beat Ernesto Rivera in the K100 race. But it's all different here. It's X30, and now Ernesto Rivera leads them all the way through, down into turn number 7, coming into the hairpin now. Ernesto Rivera leads us. Stephen Miller going to try to go for a move. He cannot, but Oliver Weldon working his way up, now in a P5 ahead of Teddy Masella. P6 for Oliver Weldon. He's still working his way up. He's been fast charging all the way through.
Yeah, like you said, Oliver Weldon charging through the field here. A solid run for him, but he's about 3 seconds back. Not going to be enough as it stands here, Caleb.
Yeah, now I think we're going to send him down to Xander as he's caught up with a couple of more drivers from our X30 Pro. Down to you, Xander.
Thanks, fellas. Justin Ataconis down here talked a little bit quickly. Terrible start in that pre-final, but you were able to start going forward. You're on the outside again here, so what can you do to mitigate that on this start?
I don't know. It's kind of just a situational thing. Just see how it goes off the original jump, and hopefully it's not as bad as last time. I think you got a pretty quick go-kart, so if you just get a good start, say don't lose any spots, I think you could be up there at the front.
All right, well, that's Justin Ataconis again. He was close last night. He's close again here today. Just need a little bit more from second last year. He got 6 spots to get there and 7 to get that $5 grand. Good luck, Justin.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, boys.
Thank you, Xander. Out front, nothing has changed besides Jackson Wolney has gotten around his teammate Keelan Harvick. So Keelan Harvick beginning to fade here. Like I mentioned earlier, his speed was super impressive in the opening stages of this race. He's fallen back to P4 outside of the podium as it stands right now. Stephen Miller pushing Ernesto Rivera away from Wolney and Harvick. And then a little further back, it is Nathan Dupuis all on his lonesome. Falling to the clutches now of Weldon, Musella, and McMurray, Caleb.
Now I'm starting to wonder if Keelan Harvick burned up his tires a little too soon here in this race. The rookie, obviously not too much experience for him, but here as it stands at the moment, Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller, the 2 veterans of this class. Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller in a class of their own all weekend, and they begin to show it. Ernesto Rivera is going to lead Stephen Miller down into the last corner. And Ernesto Rivera keeps the lead, but for how long? Jackson Wolney in that RPG may join the party soon if these 2 guys begin to fight. At the moment, Stephen Miller, neither of them improve, and the gap stays consistent in between these 2. Stephen Miller on the rear bumper of Ernesto Rivera as it stands, and they are not going to go for a battle yet. We are coming down to 3.5 laps to go. Anything can go down here, Alex.
Yeah, 3.5 to go. These 2 up front were 2 tenths faster than the drivers in 3rd and 4th of Jackson Wolney and Keelan Harvick. So it's looking to be a mano-a-mano fight to the end here. 3.5 to go, just like in KA Junior. Ernesto Rivera leads Stephen Miller. This is just where he wanted to be. He told us in an interview before the KA Junior race that he feels much more comfortable on the final lap being second. That's exactly where he is right now as he round the final couple corners here to get 3 laps remaining here. Stephen Miller he's content being second right now. What are the lap times compared to the guys behind him? Ernesto puts his personal best. What a time to do it with 3 to go. He's pulled away just a little bit from Stephen Miller as they climb the hill towards turn 3 and down the backstretch towards the Banks Bowl corner. Miller has a solid run. Do we see him move to the inside? They're going to hold station so far. Ernesto Rivera holds onto the lead. They've pulled away completely now from the drivers in 3rd and 4th. But like you said, Caleb, if they start the battle, which I don't think they will, it'll bring those drivers back into the mix.
Yeah, of course, 2 laps to go here. And Ernesto Rivera stays ahead of Stephen Miller, but for how long, Alex? We obviously heard from Stephen Miller. He wants to make the move with 1 lap to go. We have seen him. He has been super patient. You said that he was content being in second here at the moment, but I know Stephen Miller will not be content being in second here at the end of this race. 2 laps to go here in this race. Ernesto Rivera, Stephen Miller, Jackson Wolney, and Keelan Harvick. These have been the 4 that have been in contention all race long, but here, as it stands, it's all been Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller coming down to turn 3 into turn number 4 of the bowl corner. Ernesto Rivera looks over his shoulder, defends low. Stephen Miller trying to go to the outside, cannot get the switchback done, and Ernesto Rivera stays in front here at the moment, Alex.
Yeah, 1.5 laps to go for the RPG Cosmic, who's already beginning to go slightly defensive here. I'm surprised he's done it this early. Whoa, what a late defensive move there for Ernesto Rivera. Crossover incoming. Stephen Miller, Ernesto Rivera side by side into the turn 8 and 9 complex. Crossover incoming. Oh, a little bit of side pod to side pod. Here comes Jackson Wolney and Keelan Harvick. Round to the final corner here, getting the white flag in the air. Ernesto Rivera actually extends his lead over Stephen Miller. Here we go, crossing the start-finish line to get the white flag. Wow, what a lead Ernesto Rivera has gotten himself here. Exiting turn 1, up the hill towards turn 2 and 3. Does Stephen Miller have anything for Ernesto? Exiting turn 3, down the backstretch. Look at the run Stephen Miller has. Not going to be enough right now. Stephen Miller has to go slightly defensive over Jackson Wolney. Exiting turn 4 towards the turn 5 and 6 chicane here. Up and over the curbs they go. Miller late on the brakes into 6. Good exit needed here down the hill towards turn 7. Can we see a late braking move from Miller? I don't think so. It might take a desperation move right now. Ernesto Rivera looks clean sailing here, Caleb.
Yeah, Ernesto Rivera has been absolutely perfect here in this last race. He may get it done here on Stephen Miller. Ernesto Rivera still in the lead of this race, and I think he may get it done through the last corner. Ernesto Rivera de México para el Mundo wins an X30 Junior.
Wow, what a run for the Mexican Ernesto Rivera. Wow, he's been so dominant all year long in the X30 junior class, and he gets it done all on the final lap. One of our speed concept drivers, I think, was in the wall there, but Ernesto Rivera is crowned the IAME Grand National Champion in X30 Junior over Stephen Miller, Jackson Wolney in third. What a debut for Keelan Harvick in fourth, and rounding out your top five, Carter McMurray.
Yeah, all the action was set there in X30 Junior, but we're going to send it down to Xander as he has caught up with the man himself. Joe Turney has been the man to beat all year long. What do you got for us, Xander?
Well, we were just joking right before this. Now can we do the double or nothing? Well, it's already a lot of double or nothing, basically. It's 5K to win. You're the only guy with a shot at winning 10K. If you can sweep the mains, you could come away from this weekend with $18,000. You've already got a good bit coming your way with 8 confirmed from the 3K win in KA, an engine in KA, and the 5K win last night. In that main event, we didn't even talk to you about how crazy it was. First of all, how crazy was that KA main for your first experience in it?
Yeah, it was super close. No one was getting away, and it was just the whole race. You couldn't think about anything else. We were just I was trying to stay with the front guys, and managed to get into the lead at a good time. And after that, there was something happened on the last lap. I don't really know, but yeah, I mean, a bit of beginner's luck, I guess.
And can you put us a little bit in your shoes right now? I mean, you've lined up on the grid for European Championship races all year. You've lined up at the American Nationals all year. You've been around the world. With the money on the line, it should feel bigger, but I'm sure the race kind of still feels the same. Does it feel a little bit surreal to remind yourself that there's such a big extra prize, but we're just going out there for another X30 Pro Main?
Not really. I haven't won anything yet, so let's try and do the best we can here. Try and win the race. That's what we came here to try and do, and what will happen will happen.
All right, that's Joe Turney. We'll let him get suited and booted. There's a little more cleanup to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the big show. $5,000, the last main event of the weekend. Track cleanup continues. When we come back, it's time to go racing for 25 laps and $5,000.
Looking for the perfect vacation spot and a family fun weekend where a race breaks out? Look no further than Karting the Coast. Our 10 race schedule is already well underway with stops at NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans and finish line performance karting in Biloxi, Mississippi, where our podium ceremonies are on the beach. We know how to have a good time and put on a good race, and all that we're missing is you. To find out more, visit kartingthecoast.info.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
All right, we are back here, and the grid is lined. The drivers are suited up. Austin Garrison on the black and white and red Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed will lead the field off as he tries to chase here a main event win. He's already got himself $2,000 with the second place result last night to the man that starts next to him, Joe Turney. But the two of these drivers already had a little bit of finding each other on the racetrack in that KA100 senior main event, and it kind of took Austin Garrison out of contention. For Joe Turney, though, it ended up all good. He ended up another $3,000 richer, and now he has the only opportunity to sweep the main events in any age division. It didn't happen in junior as Rivera and Miller split it, but Joe Turney is now chasing $10,000 if he can win here in this X30 Pro main event and add another tick to the W column. Behind him, one driver who has had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder this weekend because he's had speed to walk away with cash. He's just been outside the money in every race so far, and that's the blue and yellow and white BJR MDR LN Kart of Paulie Massimino. The North Carolina native rolls off third. He's been fast. He was leading at points throughout that pre-final. Now he finds himself on the inside of the second row, and alongside him, who has had a stellar weekend, is the Hotes Driver Development Tony Kart of Nicholas Terlecki. What a great weekend it's been for Nick. And to roll off fourth here in the main, no matter what happens at this point, it's been an awesome run for him. And now he's getting a big education from three of the best in the country and in the world that start just up the road. The same in terms of education comes for the kid from Key West, Jacob Kolar, in the number 9. He rolls off on the inside of Mr. 7-time Ryan Norberg, P6 for the 348. Last year's winner still got a few spots to go to get forward. Dalton Haynes rolls off in the 7th spot, yet last year's runner-up, Justin Ataconis, rolls off in 8th. Alessandro DiTullio, 9th. Fast Frankie Mossman rolls off to round out the top 10 on the outside of row 5. Last night's fan vote, the rookie Caleb Gaffera is the highest starting rookie in 11th. He starts alongside Brent Cruz's Ryan Berry Motorsport Tony Kart. Then back from him, it's Cruz's teammate, Brandon Carr. Brian Boley is 14th. Row number 8, Hayden Jones and Braden Eves. Row 9, Ryan Raffa and T-Mac. Tyler McIntyre down in the 18th spot. Cade Downs and Max Taylor round off your top 20. Then it's Alex Murray, Ben Cooper, Aiden Ingrata, Wes Duchek, Satvik Sarathi, Noah Jackson, Brian Garcia, and Austin Parent. And I tried to ask Joe Turney this earlier, Connor. I wanted to ask you this now as it kind of came to mind. At the end of the day, we line up for these car races so much, and everything is the same for this event when it comes to the regular racing, beyond the fact there is a ton of money on the line. So does it almost feel kind of like not real that the money's there? Does it not feel like as prestigious? You've been on the grid of the Super Nats. You've won this run all the way through the grid at the Super Nationals, and at the same time, you've won this race. So does it almost feel like it shouldn't feel like crazy, or maybe you should be feeling more nervous than you actually are?
Yeah, I definitely think it ranks up to the levels of Super Nats. I think Super Nats is still the prestigious North American karting event, but if I want to win one this year, it'll either be this one or Super Nats. So it's in my top 2 for sure, and just the atmosphere and everything that brings this event together and the money that goes into it, the time. We're here since Thursday, 3 heat races, a pre-final, all that leading up for this one main event. So there's a lot that goes into this, and these guys are all wanting to win this one. It's a big one for sure. So we'll see who takes home the trophy and the big check at the end of the night.
Well, you said it. It all leads to this moment right here. 25 laps, X30 Pro Senior, $5,000 on the line. Austin Garrison and Joe Turney have the field together. We hit the start box, and we are underway for the main event. The main here at the IAME Grand National Championship through turn 1 and up the hill. Already to second is Paulie Massimino. Kolar to 4th. 5th for Terlecki, 6th for Dalton Haynes. Ryan Norberg is side by side for 7th with ADT. He'll get clear into the bowl as the rest of the field files through the opening couple corners. It's Austin Garrison that leads us to turn 5. Alex?
Yeah, what a start there for Austin Garrison. The entire inside lane seemed to have gone, caught the outside lane napping there a little bit. Kolar up to P4. Terlecki not the start he would have wanted. Kolar already defending there. A little too early to be defending in my opinion there. That's going to stack the pack up. Dalton Haynes, a good start for him in P6. Bit of contact there further back, Connor.
Yeah, these guys are already out to a bit of a gap here, the top 3 or so. Paulie Massimino, though, still looking for his first main event national win. He's been in this series and in this class for a long time, and it's been a long time coming. So it'd be really cool to see him get up on the top step of the podium today.
It would be awesome to see it, and I know with the home crowd reception, there'd be a big party here tonight at Paulie Massimino. Could burn it down here in front of everyone. He's on the bumper of Garrison already as they go through the bowl, and we also saw Dalton Haynes getting by Nicholas Terlecki back in turn number 11 at the end of lap 1. So Dalton Haynes, P5 at the end of the opening lap. Behind him, it is a big swarm. In fact, behind the top 3, it's a bit of a swarm because 4th place, Jacob Kolar is under heavy fire while the top 3 get away. Let's see who we've got up into the mix as they go through turn number 9. Haynes, I believe, already up to 4th. Paulie Massimino still on the bumper of Austin Garrison as they climb the hill. It's Haynes 4th, Terlecki 5th, Norberg 6th, DiTullio 7th, Mossman 8th. Already to the wayside goes Jacob Kolar.
Yeah, Kolar getting bullied around a little bit here in only his sophomore season of the X30 senior category. Dalton Haynes, what a rocket ship start he's had. He's up to 4th position, the North Carolina native. You know, in the opening IAME Grands in 2021, he finished on the podium, looking for more here. The brother duo of Dalton and Roman Haynes put together a rocket ship of an X30 senior go-kart here, and he's looking to hunt down Joe Turney, who's putting together a good couple of corners, and on the bumper now, Paulie Massimino.
Well, we see Joe Turney starting to close on up here, Connor. And again, for a guy that's already got a lot that he's won, he's got a lot more on the line. He's got double of what everyone else can win if he can pull this main event off. We saw how early he wanted to block in that KA Senior main. I wouldn't be surprised if he got up front. He just low-lined it to make sure he gets that 10 grand. But the thing is here, when there's just enough but not enough guys in the front pack that, you know, you can stack them up and they'll get into each other. They'll team up on you if you start to race kind of the wrong way almost for the lead, Connor.
Yeah, obviously Joe Turney's a veteran, as are Paulie Massimino and Austin Garrison out front. These guys know it. As you see, Paulie Massimino already the lead. He wants control of this race, as I would probably too. It's a 25-lap race though, so you know your 18-lap pre-final, your 13-lap heats. You don't really have to save your tires in those shorter races, but 25 laps, you got to save your stuff and have something there at the end, as this race is super long, and we haven't had a race this long ever since I've been racing. I haven't seen a 25-lap main event like this, so it'll be interesting to see who comes and goes, but Paulie Massimino already getting himself out to the lead here as we are working on lap number 4.
We talk about holding the pace of the race. That's what the leader can do. Garrison probably was trying to go easy, and I wouldn't imagine Paulie would be doing anything different. Dalton Haynes is pushing, though. He set the fastest lap of the race at a 47.9. He's on the bumper of Joe Turney here for third. Down the backstretch, the top 4 are packed together as they head to turn number 4. Massimino leads. Here comes Dalton and Turney. Gonna let the youngster go, and this right there is a difference of experience. The question will be, can Dalton Haynes' speed last all 25 laps? That's a long run here on the first heat cycle for the MG Yellows. We normally know they peak around lap 4 or 5 or sooner when you're pushing. So for Dalton going this fast early, he's getting the fans riled up for sure, but you got to worry, is that number 17 all-white Kart Republic going to last to the checkered flag, Connor?
Yeah, that's really the main question. Dalton Haynes super fast out here early, but his fastest lap was on lap 3. He already fell off a little bit to lap 4, so already starting to fall off. As you can see, not many green laps through these guys. Dalton Haynes looking for second here. He's wanting to get to the front. He wants to lead. He wants control of this race. He obviously knows he has a good go-kart right now, so he's got to make the most of it right now and get out front while he still has that speed. So he's doing everything he can, chasing down Paulie Massimino in the lead right now, and I'm guessing as soon as he gets to Paulie's bumper, he's going to make a move for the lead and try and maybe get himself a little bit of a gap.
The other thing that changes about it, again, is Dalton hasn't been around these guys, at least for the case of Paulie Massimino, Austin Garrison, Joe Turney, and Ryan Norberg, who's moving up to 5th as Turney gets around Garrison for 3rd, is that these guys have all raced each other at least once and done multiple times. They know what to expect out of everyone else. For Dalton Haynes, he's been coming through the field after a bad qualifying effort here this weekend, kind of the inverse of what he had when he pulled it 2 years ago, so they don't know what to expect out of the number 17. They just know there's a new factor, a new variable, and he wants to lead Dalton Haynes to the point in turn number 1.
Yeah, wow. Dalton Haynes already the lead here, and I would take a guess that some of these guys are running tire pressures down in the 6 PSI, 7 PSI range, so these guys' karts might not come in until past halfway, which is, 12, 13 laps into this race, and we're only 5 or 6 laps in, so still a ways to go here as Dalton Haynes gets the lead. He's already got about a car length and a half gap, so starting to pull away. We'll see how long his tires can stay on the thing and see if he can keep this gap as we see Joe Turney following him through. Joe knows he needs to keep it close. He can't let Dalton Haynes get too far out front. He's got to keep the gap close, so if Dalton Haynes is going to use his step up, Joe's thinking he's got to go too, and he can't really let Dalton Haynes get a big gap here early in this race.
Yeah, for sure. Dalton Haynes, so far, like you said, Connor, he knows his kart is good right now. He's pulled away just a little bit over Joe Turney. Dalton Haynes has, one of the most experienced drivers behind him in Joe Turney, Massimino, Garrison, and Norberg. It doesn't get much more experience than this. The guys behind him, they probably have, like you said, Connor, 6 to 7 PSI range in the MG Yellows. Who knows what Dalton went out on, because he had to start a little bit further back on the grid, so he knew that he had to go a little bit higher in the tire pressures to get to the front early. How much longer can he hold on, though, with 17 to go, Connor?
Yeah, Joe Turney, obviously, he's won a lot of races in X30 Pro this year. He's got a good idea of how to pace himself. Austin Garrison going to P3, getting himself by Paulie Massimino. Ryan Norberg going to follow through. We haven't talked.
Oh, wow, did Norberg just hip check Paulie Massimino, and Paulie's going to give it right back to 7-time.
Yeah, that's, smart driving by Paulie. The guy puts you off the track, you put him off the track in the next corner. Nothing wrong with that, just give and take right there. So Paulie Massimino going to hold on to that 4th place position, but he lost quite a bit of space to the leaders up front. So kind of what we saw with him and Danny Formal in the KA shootout there, just without the ending the race part of it. So aggression early on in this race. Alessandro Getulio are going to take over P4 here early in this race. So Still, though, Dalton Haynes leading out front. Joe Turney starting to close the gap. Joe Turney put his fastest lap in on lap number 8 that last time by, so his tires are starting to come in as he's starting to reel Dalton Haynes back in early in this race.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that kind of move out of Ryan Norberg. Normally we're used to seeing a calm and controlled drive through the field. To see him kind of get into it and try to shove Paulie out of the way, especially knowing that's not a rookie. That's another veteran that is not afraid of you and will give it right back. I'm just surprised to see that kind of move out of Ryan. But nonetheless, he ended up losing another spot that time as Frankie Mossman moves up higher. He gets up into the 7th or 6th position. So Dalton Haynes, though, getting reeled in by Joe Turney. And this time through turn 3, the gap about 3 car lengths and just incrementally coming down, inching his way forward. And Austin Garrison also turning up the wick there in 3rd.
Yeah, I think Ryan Norberg's feeling some pressure. He's struggled this weekend, kind of been in that 5th to 8th place range all weekend long. So he knows that he needs to get up to the front and kind of assert himself in that top 5. But he's just struggling to find a pace to do that as he's running in 7th right now, running behind Frankie Mossman. So struggling early in this race. We'll see, though. He knows how to pace his cart and get through these long races well. He's done it a lot before, and he's probably the most experienced guy in this X30 Pro division. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a late race charge from Ryan, but early in this race, he's starting to struggle a little bit as Frankie Mossman and Nicholas Terlecki are looking to get by Ryan Norberg.
Well, Joe Turney continuing to just keep the pace exactly where he needs to be. He's just going fast enough to keep with Dalton, not fast enough to overdrive his stuff and track him down. For Dalton Haynes again, though, he knows what it's like here to race it around this race. He was a green, very green rookie. His IAME Pro debut came at the 2021 Grand Nationals when he pulled it, and a handful of mistakes kind of put him back to 17th, and he drove all the way up to 2nd in the main event. Now, 2 years later, on a number of different part-time rides that have panned out just to get him in the seat enough to continue to keep his name relevant and to give him opportunity after opportunity. And again, they find themselves this weekend on what could be, just a handful of one-offs in 2023. You just kind of never know when your last race is going to be. It's a scary place to be. The kid has been in this place before, and now 2 years later, he finds himself leading the main event against the guy known right now as probably the #1 driver in the world, Joe Turney, back in 2nd, Alex.
Yeah, Dalton Haynes. I mean, the one positive for Dalton that I'll say is that his lap times have stayed consistent at the 47.9 to 48 flat range. So far, the MG Yellow's holding on just enough for him, but 14 laps to go with one of the most experienced drivers and one of the winningest drivers in the world right now, and Joe Turney behind him. Dalton Haynes doing just enough so far to hold him off.
Yeah, Dalton Haynes, really impressive from him. He's struggled to really get that win and really persevere in this X30 Pro class. So to see him running out front in this race, I'm really impressed by him, and he works so hard. I mean, him and his brother show up to the track in a van sometimes, racing out of the back of the truck. So he's pitted with GWR this weekend, and he's been kind of struggling, been a bit of a sleeper early in this weekend, but kind of got himself up to the lead early in this race from a little bit further back and has maintained his ground. I'm surprised to see how well he's holding on early in this race. So still just about halfway to go here. So a lot of time left in this race, but an impressive start to this race from Dalton Haynes.
Nonetheless, you go back from these two here. You look at the lap times. Austin Garrison ripped out another personal best that time by the man in 3rd on the black and white red speed. Starting to close back up to the top 2 as we approach the halfway mark in this 25-lap endurance sprint race here. Alessandro Di Tullio back behind, also hit his personal best in 4th. Paulie Massimino still 5th. Frankie Mossman in 6th. Let's see, do we see a move here up the hill from anyone? Mossman not good enough out of turn 9, so he won't be able to do anything. There's something further back. Couple of young guns and Justin Anaconis going by on Jacob Kolar. That's at the back of the top 10 there for 9th behind Nicholas Terlecki for the BJR MDRL Kart. Justin Anaconis, not a great start from 8th. He's starting to trip his way back up the order, but he'll need a lot of battling to back the leaders up. It's about a 3.5-second spread from 1st back to 10th.
Yeah, Dalton Haynes was the fastest kart on track last time by, so he's still holding this pace. We'll see how long it can last for, but at this point, I feel like if his stuff was starting to fall off, he would be slowing down by now. So I feel like we've got a good piece on our hands for Dalton Haynes, and maybe he can hold it out front here for 12 more laps. Not much race left to go. I mean, we just crossed halfway. 12 laps to go. Joe Turney still breathing down his neck. Austin Garrison, one of the guys that I know is on a low tire pressure. His stuff is going to come in towards the end of this race. As you can see, closing in on the leaders, starting to make some ground up. As Joe Turney 47.9 last time by, Austin Garrison 48.1. So give and take every lap. One guy's faster, the next guy's faster the next time by. So not much time being made up between these top 3, but Joe Turney's still sitting there in 2nd place, very content with where he's at. I know that he's not burning his stuff up. He's very, very, very professional, and he knows what he's doing when he's talking about this X30 Pro division. So we'll be curious to see when Joe Turney's going to decide to make his move to the lead.
Yeah, like you said, Connor, give and take, really. I mean, sometimes Haynes faster, sometimes Turney faster. This is about as close as I've seen Turney all race long here, as he's kind of notoriously known to have some of the lowest tire pressures on the grid here. Most of his wins come from last couple of lap passes here. He's closed it now to about a kart length advantage here for Dalton Haynes. So as they cross the line, one of the lap times showing Haynes 48 flat, Turney 48 flat as well, but a couple hundredths faster. He's still within the draft range of Dalton Haynes. But like you said, Connor, super surprised to see the MG Yellows of Haynes holding up here with 10 to go. So like you said, his brother Roman Haynes and the GWR guys have put together a pretty good piece for him.
Yeah, Dalton was even talking to me a little bit here, trying to guesstimate what the track's going to do. It looks like it's held a lot of grip all day long. And Joe Turney, good run through the infield there in turn number 6. Connor, from what you can see here and what you've talked about under the tent, to me it doesn't look like we've really gotten to that point where the track greases over. Has it been that point at all?
No, with the rain and everything, we haven't laid that much rubber down, so it's been pretty even out throughout the weekend. We struggled in morning warm-up this weekend for grip. Most of the guys won about a second off pace, but as we've gotten further into today, guys have gotten back up to their normal speed, 47.9. That's pretty average for this X30 Pro division, so I think the track's staying pretty normal compared to usual standards. Not really greasing over yet, but you never know. With 10 laps to go, the track could change. You never know what could happen. As Dalton Haynes still leading out front, still turning those 48 flats, super consistent. So I'm curious to see when Joe Turney's going to make this move to the lead, and maybe he still has some stuff left in the tank that he's not showing us.
It could be. I mean, we're used to seeing him turn it up late. It was that case in the KA Senior main event where Turney really just kind of got going in the last couple laps. Even chatting with him there, it didn't feel like it had the best car, and then with about 3 to go, he ran right up to Danny Formal. However, here, is that going to happen again as he's going Kart Republic against Kart Republic? Again, like you said, Dalton Haynes with the support from Team GWR and kind of a somewhat more of an independent effort. I mean, they don't even have a sticker kit on that thing. He's just trying to earn himself an opportunity to keep doing this. And again, he got that payday in the KA shootout, finishing second. So he already got a little bit of cash to walk away. But $5,000, that would do a huge amount to Dalton Haynes' career to keep going, to be able to keep behind the wheel again. Many noticed here that he's sporting a Kart Chaser suit. He's worked with us and helped put on the broadcast coverage for all of you to watch in every off weekend that he was on the sidelines. And every time he talked to me, man, I just wish I was out there. I'd do anything to get back out there. And finally, the call came from Eric Jones in Kart Republic North America, and he found some sponsorship money on his own, and he was able to put together a handful of rides in KA and X30 here this year. And now, at his home race, where he made a name for himself 2 years ago, Dalton Haynes on the whiteout number 17 is 7 laps away from the biggest payday of his young career.
Yeah, but one thing, $5,000 for Dalton Haynes, but it's $10,000 for Joe Turney to win this race. He's already won the KA race, so double the money for him. He's going to do a lot. If he's going to do whatever it takes to win this race. $10,000 is a big payday for go-kart racing, get any racing alone. So I'm curious to see what Joe Turney's going to do to win this race and how these two guys are going to battle. Dalton Haynes, lesser experience than Joe Turney, still's got a lot of laps around this place, local knowledge, knows this place well, has raced here a lot, understands how the track works, how the racing ends, and how the last few laps will go at the end of this race. Joe Turney's got a lot of knowledge as we look to racing. He's a European champion. He's won everything there is to win in karting. So the experience levels are different, but they both have experience in the right places. So I'm curious to see who's able to prevail.
Well, we go back from the battle for the lead for the moment. With 6 to go, Austin Garrison has faded. Alessandro DiTullio is by. There goes Paulie Massimino by. The Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed driver. Looked like it might have been his day today, but here in the main events, both in KA Senior and X30 Senior, it's just not panning out. He's back to 5th. He's got Frankie Mossman and Ryan Norberg next in line to challenge him here with 6 laps to go. Austin Garrison, unfortunately, just starting to fade right when everyone else is starting to turn the wick up. And talking about the guy that's just gone to 3rd, how about it for Alessandro DiTullio as Frankie Mossman goes by on Austin Garrison. Norberg trying to go, but not going to do a hip check to Austin Garrison like he did to Paulie that time. Learned his lesson and gives some respect, lets him on back by to not force the issue. I think both of them know at this point a top 5 is all they're going to get. They're not going to get anything better. They're way back from the top 2. But for ADT on that pink and chrome for International Motorsport Kart Republic, a new home, a new environment, and I'm so impressed at how well he's run here this weekend. This will be a great run and a great boost of confidence for the Miami, Florida native as Paulie Massimino closes in for 3rd here with 5 to go. Joe Turney continues to close in towards Dalton Haynes over to turns 5 and 6 now.
Yeah, I mean, a solid run for ADT. Finally put together a pretty good performance there on the Kart Republic. Seems to have figured it out there on an International Motorsports tent. Massimino, a good run for him. And fast Frankie Mossman finally putting together a solid race that hasn't, ended in mechanical failure or in the dirt. So he's up into the top 5. But Connor, I got to ask you, with 4.5 to go, I mean, knowing the pace of Dalton Haynes and Joe Turney here, matching each other the entirety of this race, what position would you rather be in, first or second right now?
I'm always the guy that likes to control the race. I want to be in the lead. I want to be able to make a mistake and fall back on having the lead. So if I'm Joe Turney here, I'm looking to get to the inside and make a move. But
whoa, what a move by Paulie Massimino up the hill for third. Caught Alessandro Tullio sleeping there down the backstretch, Connor.
Yeah, he sure did, and that's a move that Paulie Massimino has done time and time again before. So he's a local here. He knows how this place races. He knows that is a move you can do, and if you do that move and you can successfully pull it off, usually the guy on the outside gets put to the back a little bit, and he's already going to the bottom. We got 3.5 laps to go, and he's already going down to the bottom, blocking for third place. He knows that's a money position. He's going to make some money if he can walk away with third, so he's going to go.
Oh, no, Mossman!
Frankie Mossman.
Over the top of Tullio. He bangs tires with Austin Garrison. Now Nick Terlecki's coming by Garrison. Norberg evades the chaos to get into fourth. 3 to go, and Frankie Mossman, just as you had mentioned, had been getting himself cleanly up. Unfortunately, finds himself now out, and it is back up front. With 3 laps to go, it is David versus Goliath. Dalton Haynes, the brother duo, with a little bit of team support this weekend on the all-white Kart Republic leads over the man who has won nearly every race he's entered in North America in 2023, Joe Turney. 2 more laps around. Look at Turney. He drives into the side of him. That's a move for 10 grand. And now Dalton Haynes has to go back by Joe Turney to the lead.
Yeah, Dalton Haynes looked back right there. He had no idea that Joe Turney was going to make a move over 2 kart lengths back. But that's the kind of move that Joe Turney needed to make, because with 2 to go right now, if he would have let Dalton Haynes get to the bottom, start defending, bring the rest of the field back in, it would have made it a lot tougher on Joe Turney. Joe Turney's going to go to the bottom. We got 2 laps to go, and he's already blocking. He's going to try and stay in control of this race. Dalton Haynes, though, looking for a way by.
What can you do now with your Dalton Haynes? You're on the outside down. He sends it on the outside. Turney giving him space. Still side by side, runs him to the edge of the racetrack. 2.5, 2 to go. A lap and a half remains. Joe Turney to the infield, trying to race for an $18,000 payday. 10 grand if he can pull it off. He blocks down low in turn 8. Haynes trying for the crossover. Not enough to get there as they go to turn number 9. Oh,
yep,
there he is.
He's
got him on the inside.
about to say that.
What a move. Dalton Haynes is through, and now Dalton's got a block. 1 to go. David versus Goliath continues. Turney to the high side. Tries to cross him over. 1 to go. Dalton Haynes fighting with everything that he's got to turn 1. He covers it off. Turney back to the inside. And he's got the inside up the hill to 3.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate move for Dalton Haynes. Made the move in turn 9 and just overshot turn 1. Went a little bit wide and lost the lead. Joe Turney's going to know to block turn 9 now, so that's going to be out of Dalton's pocketbook for the last move. And Joe Turney's still leading here, though. Oh my!
Are you kidding me? Turn 6. Dalton Haynes passes where nobody's done before. Now to the inside in turn 8. He blocks low. Turney, another crossover. Can he get there? They're banging tires to turn number 9. Dalton's just got to park it here. Turney to the high side. He's off
not
the
going to make it. Dalton Haynes is going to win. Dalton Haynes
is going wild.
Joe Turney off the racetrack.
Dalton Haynes is going to win $5,000. Oh my goodness!
What did we just witness, Sander? Dalton Haynes, the privateer on the GWR tent. Oh my goodness me, Dalton Haynes, you're the Grand National Champion.
$5,000. He beats the winningest driver. The crowd has gone ballistic. It is a frenzy here, and Dalton Haynes is a pro national winner for the first time in his career on the all-white Kart Republic. Are you kidding me?
Turn 6. Have you ever seen that before,
Never.
Xander?
Have I ever? Never. Oh my God, Dalton is fired up. You have got to be kidding me. Everyone stopping on their cool-down lap to congratulate one of the hardest-working kids in the paddock, one that everybody wants to root for, and one that has worked at the racetrack every time he's been out of the seat. There's the congrats from Paulie Massimino. This is unbelievable as Dalton Haynes climbs the hill into the scale line. The entire crowd here has made their way over to the scales to go and check out Dalton Haynes as he pulls in. We are out of breath. Everybody going absolutely nuts as Dalton Haynes pulls in to a sea of roars in the scale line. What a performance. What a win as he gets a huge crowd and ovation.
Oh, man. bringing tears to my eyes here, Xander. I mean, I can't really think of a kid more deserving of this than Dalton Haynes. I mean, the privateer underneath the GWR tent for this weekend. Unbelievable stuff, Connor.
That was incredible. He is pumped up, absolutely pumped up. I can't imagine him and Roman Haynes right now. They work so hard to bring this go-kart to the track. White sticker kit, number 17 on the side, and he just won the IAME Grand Nationals.
Let's see if we can bring Dalton Haynes out of the scale line. We got to get him in the mic range. We got to hear from this guy. Every driver comes through. There's Brandon Carr going to congratulate Dalton. He has everyone. Our hearts were in our throats for the young kid to pull it off. And at 18 years old, Dalton Haynes is an IAME Grand National champion. 2 years ago, his career was over. This race here in 2021, our first ever live stream, was it. They went all out. Every dollar they saved, everything was banking on racing this one. And he performed. He put it on pole. He finished in the money in second. And he got to go to Las Vegas. He finished in the top 10 in his first ever Super Nationals. That landed him even further up the road to continue to race. And now Dalton Haynes is the IAME Grand National champion, as congratulations come from all around. He's got to get through the scale line here first, folks. We're going to hear from him. My goodness, what a performance from this one. Connor, again, you know him here as a North Carolina native. He works so hard. He's at the racetrack 3, 4, 5 days a week making money coaching just to fuel the racing career that he's doing.
Yeah, this is a win for everybody. Dalton Haynes has worked so hard for this moment, and this is what he needed. He needed this to kickstart what has already been a very successful career in the X30 Pro Division, but this is his moment, and he's got to be so proud of himself right now.
The fans in the live stream can't believe it. Nobody can here. Dalton Haynes' father is calling me. I know he's watching along at home. He's got such a big cheering section. It's such a feel-good move there, and that, without a doubt, has to be our pride moment of the race. We'll get Dalton Haynes with a T-shirt to match his $5,000 check. What a run, what a performance here as the field rolls on through. There's a lot more to talk about as we go back through the results, though. While Joe Turney went so wide in the dirt there, it was Paulie Massimino, after what has been such a weekend of trials and tribulations, who gets second, gets a $2,500 payday, I believe, for P2. Joe Turney ends up third, still with a 5-figure return, I think, on the weekend. Justin Ataconis, what an awesome run from that kid who was the heartthrob last year in the David versus Goliath scenario. That came up one spot shy. He goes fourth and is hopefully going to find himself a ride to continue to race here as he heads off to college. Alessandro DiTullio, again, what a great run. He ends fifth. Ryan Norberg, sixth. Nick Terlecki's solid weekend ends up down in seventh. Frankie Mossman, eighth. Austin Garrison in ninth. We're going to bring our top 5 finishers over and talk to them. We'll see if we can get Ryan Norberg as well. Also, one cool moment here from Max Pappas Innovations. The hard charger, the driver who makes up the most amount of spots in the race, gets the MPI on the wheel award, and I believe looking through with a 7-spot gain that will go to Max Taylor unofficially there, who drove from 20th up to 13th. So congrats to Max. He's got a super cool trophy coming his way. We got the top 5 making their way on over here, Connor.
Xander, I got one question to ask you. When's the last time you've been that pumped up for a main event feature?
My goodness, you have everything. I mean, this was everything that we were hoping to see last night in the shootout. And again, to all the viewers at home and everyone, I mean, it's hard not to be a little bit biased. I'm a big Joe Turney fan. That guy is incredible. His resume speaks for itself. But to see a hardworking kid like Dalton, and of course a success story of our own, to be able to get the win there. Alex, he's worked alongside us. You've roomed with this guy on the road here as we've been working the cameras for the broadcast. He's had to watch these races for the last 2 years.
Oh, man, I can't imagine. You know, he tells us every weekend, like you said, Xander, he wishes he could be in the seat. This is really the stuff that dreams are made of, right? Dalton Haynes, like you said, 2 years ago, career over, comes to this event, finishes on the podium, and now you see him there standing as an IAME Grand National champion.
Caleb Viesca, you've got the winner. There is the congrats from Justin Ataconis. We got a lot of drivers to talk to. Let's talk to the man of the hour. Dalton Haynes is your IAME Grand National X30 Pro champion, and he's fired up, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you, Xander. Dalton, firstly, you are the IAME Grand National champion. How does that feel, first of all?
Incredible. I'm dead. Someone give me water, man. Oh, my God. That was insane. It was an insane race. I got the lead early on, and I knew I had the tires pressure to stay till the end, and I just kept my head down. I didn't look back till like 6 to go, and then I just just kept going. And I knew I could hear him coming in hairpin every lap like clockwork. He had at least one. He was one tooth higher than me, I think. He'd get me in hairpin and he'd get me in the double rights, and everywhere else I think I could cover him off. And I knew he was going to send in the hairpin. I didn't know he was going to send it that deep, but he did a really good job with that pass, and then it was just a race from there, man.
Yeah, obviously, Joe Turney was the David in this story. Talk to me. It's a true underdog story for you. I mean, all year long, you've been working with us, obviously, working on the broadcast and stuff like that, working a camera, and all weekend long, whenever you were working, you had been saying that you wanted to be on track, you wanted to find the money to get back on track. This weekend, you found the money to get on track, and you won. Especially, walk me through that last lap battle. How was that?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Roman Haynes. He paid for this weekend in X30 Senior, and it was an incredible race, all right? So thank you to Roman. That's my older brother. He's been working on my car. He's the one that made me get here. He's the one that made me get to where I am. He's my coach, my tuner, everything. I wouldn't have done it without him. But going off that last lap, let me try to remember. Oh, my God. I think he was in the lead. Was he in the lead on this?
Dalton, I got a question for you here if you can hear me, buddy. Dude, turn 6, are you kidding me? With a pass there, we have never, in all of our races we've ever streamed, in the 10 years I've been announcing at this racetrack, I've seen someone dive a pass from behind with no pack and make it there. Did you plan that at all?
So I wanted to give a shout out to Ashley O'Hara. About a year ago, we went head-to-head, and she brake checked me in 6. And Turney brake checked me in 1 corner. I don't even remember what corner it was. I just remember, hey, he brake checked me in a tight corner. He's going to do it in 6. So I was just prayed, kept my foot on the gas, braked late, drove him wide. Yeah, so thank you to Ashley O'Hara. And that move just worked out, and I covered it off from there. So it was a crazy race, but I had a great time. And, yeah, like I said, thank you to Roman Haynes. Thank you to Kart Chaser. Thank you to BBS Race Engines for the X30 Senior. And thank you to my dad, Roland Haynes. Yeah, he's the one that got me started in karting, and he's helped out. He paid for my entry fee this weekend, I think, and my brother and him have been working together all the time, trying to get the money up to make me race again. And my brother Roman believed in me, and yeah, I just made it happen.
Yeah, sounds good, Dalton. And here from Pride, the move of the weekend there on the last lap. So congrats about that. But next question for me: what's next for you after this?
I have no clue. This was planned to be my last race in X30 Senior. I was planning to do something else. I mean, if any of those teams want to hit me up and give me a free ride, I'm down. But yeah, I don't really know what's next. Also, thank you to Eric Jones at Kart Sport and everyone else.
I got one more guy that wants to talk to you. Roman, it's your father, Roland. He watched the whole race all the way along. And Dalton, Roland Haynes, your dad, he wants to talk to you here. Roland, you're on live with everyone. What do you have to say about your son?
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, man. You held on all weekend. Yes, you and your brother did it. You did it.
Oh, man. That's got to be so special to hear from your dad after everything you've been through, buddy. I'm so proud of you. I'm so, congrats for everything. You've got all of us speechless here. What more would you like to say?
Thank you to Watts Race Paint, BBS, Eric Jones at Kart Sport, obviously my brother. We can all race. And, yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kart Chaser. You're the most. You've been helping me out so much, Xander. You've promoted this sport so much, and you helped the sport grow. And, even if I won this race a couple years ago, not many people would know about it. But now it's on live. It's insane. Thank you.
Hey, congratulations, buddy. So proud of you. Bring it in. Congrats, buddy. Let's bring in the next of ours here. Let's give it up, crowd. We know you love it here. What about it for this kid? Unreal. What an awesome sign of respect here from the entire field. Paulie Massimino. Paulie, I know you would have loved to be the one here to break through and get your first regular season main event win in X30 Pro. Talk to me about yours. There was a moment early in that race where you and Ryan kind of collided, and it looked like from there maybe just not enough to get back up.
Yeah, I don't know if we missed it a little bit in the beginning or whatnot, but by the time we got our speed rolling, they were already gone, and I was just trying to focus and still at least try to finish, top 3, maybe 3rd, 4th, whatever. But, yeah, and then I was just going to see what they did at the end. Huge congratulations to Dalton. Obviously, if I didn't win, he was one of the ones I wanted to win. So very happy for him. He deserves it. Drove a great race, fast. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the result. I know it's not a win, but, man, it's been a long road. So glad to at least get on the box, and thank you to the whole BJR MDR crew, my dad, my parents, my girlfriend's dad, Speed Lab Racing, Offset, Next Set, and Twin Transmissions.
There you go. You got them all, I think, Paulie. Again, like you said, it's a good way, a bittersweet ending, but P2, you got a little bit to walk away from and a good boost of confidence when we come back. We know we'll see you later on in the season, so congratulations on the ending run, bud.
Thank you.
All right, that's Paulie Massimino. We'll let him step off to the side. Justin Ataconis here. Man, what a run it's been for you this weekend. Talk about navigating that chaos on that second group on the final lap. We were so focused up front, you snuck your way into the top 5. How'd you do it?
I don't really know. They all just started blocking into turn 9, and I just did what Ryan did to me last year in the last lap and just over-undered all of them and passed about probably like 4 carts in that one turn. So it was, I was kind of like sitting there like looking at my lips, seeing them all block and like 5 to go, and I knew they were going to do something like that, and I just had to be in the right spot, and luckily it came right there.
Well, I mean, nonetheless here, we know you're in a similar situation like many, trying to make the budget work to be able to get back behind the wheel where you can. We know we're going to lose you to college, and it's so good to see you again. And, again, who else would you like to thank for such an awesome effort to pull it all off and to, have a pretty good one-off all said?
Yeah, first off, thank my dad. He's the one that's building the car, paying for everything. So thank him, and then Mike Doty, Brand Jar's Crack, all the guys that work on the car, John, Brian, everyone that's kind of worked on this thing, especially last night. We had probably like 5 guys working on the cart, then the shootout. So it's been great to see the team effort for the first time of this year, and it's just so good to be back.
Well, with that, Justin here, it's great to have you back. We're going to miss you for a little bit, bud. We hope to get to see you really soon, and we hope some good manufacturers are watching that might be able to help you get back on track soon. Congrats on the good run.
Yeah, thanks, Xander. Hopefully I'm back soon.
All right, that's Justin Ataconis here. Let's bring ADT on in. Ale, my goodness. I mean, it was a dogfight for the win. It was a dogfight just for you to stay around the top 5. You got to third, went back, went forward. Can you walk us through a little bit of those last couple laps?
Yeah, the pace was good. I was just trying to catch Garrison. Once I got by him, I stayed ahead of for a bit, and then Paulie caught me, and then, passed me, and then he started to block, so I started to go on the white line with him, and then I just got stuffed and got pushed wide, which is pretty normal for X30, so it is what it is.
Either way, I mean, you're having pace to be third, fourth, almost all the way to the leaders. Had you started with them, just couldn't have the speed to maybe track them down. Again, we talked about earlier in the weekend, getting more and more comfortable and confident on the Kart Republic chassis, as well as gelling with that International Motorsport group. Do you feel really good going into the second half of 2023 now as we exit the All-Star break and get back to points racing?
Yeah, for sure. I think the pace has been really good all week. We were good in quali, good in Heat 1. In Heat 2, we had an issue, which really messed up the tires, so that's why I struggled a lot in Heat 2 and 3 and also the pre-final. And then once we bolted on new tires, even in the warm-up and in the race, we were good. So, yeah, we know we had an issue there, but once we put the good tires back on, we were quick. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of 2023 season. I want to thank the whole team, Inter Motorsport, BN Engines, Kart Republic, and everyone who supports me.
All right, well, with that, Ali, congratulations here. It was a hard-fought battle. Got pushed a little bit around, but, hey, at the end of the day, you're fast again, right where you should be at the pointy end of the field. We look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's Alessandro DiTullio. I believe we've lost most. We'll see if we can get a word with the rest of our podium and our top 5. Joe Turney here, who ended up third at the end of it all. But we'll see podiums as well. So stay tuned on the live stream where we'll take a short break from all of our coverage and talk a little bit more. When we come back, it's time to award some big checks, some engines, some trophies, as well as those MPI driver up on the wheel awards for all the hard chargers here in each main event. So don't go anywhere. All right, check here in the pits. We've got the MPI driver up on the wheel. It's the Hard Charger Award. In Micro Swift, it's Parker Stewart. Please come to the podium. Ryan Kastner to the podium. Christian Meyer to the podium. Chase Jones to the podium. Jackson Porter to the podium. Keelan Harvick to the podium with your suits on here for the MPI move of the race. And Max Taylor as well. So Max Taylor, Keelan Harvick, Jackson Porter, Chase Jones, Christian Meyer, Ryan Kastner, and Parker Stewart. Please come to podiums as well. We've got a special Hard Charger Award for you. All right, if we can go ahead and start gathering our crowd by podium. Still waiting on tech. It's almost wrapped up for the final couple classes. Again, we had our hard chargers that need to make their way to podium. Top 5 in every class with suits and helmets to podium, please. Check. All right, podiums will get started in about another 5 minutes. 5 minutes here for podiums. Last minute protests are clearing through. Podiums in 5 minutes for everyone at the top 5 down here by the Trackhouse Motorplex lobby.
I say 5, and then that way they're here. People are flying out. They're like 8.
All right, once again, podiums will be started here in just a few more minutes, about 4 to 5 more minutes. Podiums will start here at the bottom.
Welcome back to the IAME Grand Nationals, as that was an absolutely electric race that we saw there. Now, our podium ceremonies brought to you by the man himself, Xander Clements. Down to you, Xander.
Thank you, Caleb. Here, so we've got the victory lane behind me. We've got a lot of awards to give away. We're going to kick things off with the Micro Swifts. I'll step as we admire the podium because there's a lot over of all the major prizes. First up here, we have our MPI on the wheel, up on the wheel, hard charger award that gets you not only these awesome MPI trophies, an MPI hat, and a $250 Max Pappas Innovation card. This one going to Parker Stewart in Micro Swift. We'll have Parker step up to the side here while we bring up our 5th place finisher. 5th place after everything's settled, William Roberts. We'll call up place here for William to make his way to the podium. 4th place after it all, Zach. Third place in the Micro Swift main event and also getting their trophy and $3 in cash goes to Cade Wall. Second place in the Micro Swift main event and getting $500 in cash, Macha. And your main event winner in Micro Swift, brand new IAME Swift engine, along with a trophy, your Grand National Champion, Grimes. All right, kids, these are heavy trophies. See how high you can raise them, and let's give it up for our Micro Swift podium. All right. Congratulations to our podium. Parker, that's not your engine. That's a placeholder. We got a new engine for you in the back. So we'll let everyone make their way off the podium from the Micro Swifts. We'll move on up to KA100 Master as things clear out. All right, so first up, we have 5th place in KA100 Master, John Bonanno. 4th place in KA100 Master for Prodigy Racing, Byron Daly. We'll wait and see here. 3rd place in your KA100 Master podium, Billy Workman. And finishing 3rd in KA100 Master, not only gets Billy a 3rd place result, it gets him $300 cash, $500 cash, and the $250 MPI gift card as the up on the wheel mover on the race for P2, Ryan Kastner. And your main event winner here, your 2023 IAME Grand National Champion in KA100 Master, getting himself a new KA100 engine, Dusty Davis. All right, everyone, let's give it up here for our KA100 Master podium. All right, we'll clear out all the trophies here from our KA100 Masters, and Ryan Kastner's got a lot of hardware to take on back with him here, as well as an MPI gift card. We move on over to KA100 Junior, first up, finishing 16th, but the hard charger, your MPI, up on the wheel award winner, Christian Meyer. Fifth place in KA100 Junior at the end of it all, Chase Buscalia. Fourth place in KA100 Junior, Oliver Weldon. Place in $300 in KA Junior to Makers. Second place in KA100 Junior and $500 to Ernesto Rivera. And your main event winner gets a KA100 engine to go on with him. Your main event winner, your Grand National Champion in KA Junior, Steven Miller. All right, fellas, be careful with the big trophies and raise them up if you can. Let's give it up for our KA100 Junior Grand National Podium. All right, we'll get Steven his engine here in a little. Got our hard charger award, $250 to Christian Meyer. Now we move on to KA100 Senior. You're up on the wheel. MPI award goes to the driver that came from the rear. And 19th at the end of it all, Chase Jones. We know Chase is busy packing up the pit area, so we'll on to that for him here. Move on to fifth place at the end of the KA100 Senior main event, Austin Garrison. Fourth place in the KA100 Senior main event to Brandon Lemke. Austin Garrison also gets a $500 cash check, $750 to Brandon Lemke for P4. Next up, we'll go to third place here, along with a nice payday in KA100 Senior of $1,000 to Aiden Levy. Next up, second place here in the KA100 Senior main event, and coming away as well with a nice little payday for KA100 Senior of $1,500 to Brent Cruz. And finally, $3,000 along with a KA100 engine to take home. He's got a big suitcase to pack for your KA100 Senior Grand National Champion, Joe Turney. Let's give it up for our K100 Senior Grand National Podium. All right, next up we have our Mini Swift Podium. First up, our Max Pappas Innovations MPI up on the wheel hard charger award goes to the driver of the 199, finishing 14th, Jackson Porter. Fifth place in the Mini Swift main event here to Troy Ferguson. Fourth place in the Mini Swift main event, Ashton Woon. In the Mini Swift main event and $300 cash as well to Lucas Palacio. Second place in the Mini Swift main event here, and $500 richer, Travis Pettit. And along with winning an IAME Swift engine, it's his first national win in the mini classes. Grand National Champion in Mini Swift, Cameron Marsha. Big trophies to hold there as he shakes everybody's hand. Super cool sign of respect from Cameron. All right, we'll let him get up to the top step of the podium. And for some of our future stars in the 8 to 12-year-old division in Mini Swift, let's give it up as they try to raise those trophies up, boys. Give it up to your Mini Swift podium. All right, next up, we move on to our X30 Junior main event here. And one of the biggest paydays this class sees at $500. And fifth place at the end of it all, Carter McMurray. Fifth. Yeah, Chargers top 5. Fourth place in X30 Junior with a cool $750 payday. And our Up on the Wheel Award winner for the hard charge through the grid, to Keelan Harvick. Third place in the X30 Junior main event here, along with a nice payday as well of $1,000 to Jackson Wolney. Second place in the X30 Junior main event, along with $1,500 cash to Stephen Miller. And your main event in X30 Junior with a nice $3,000 payday, brand new X30 engine, it is Ernesto Rivera. Let's give it up for your 2023 X30 Junior Grand National Championship podium. All right, next up here for X30 Senior Pro, 13th place in the MPI Up on the Wheel Hard Charger Award with a great drop through the grid from 20th to 13th, Max Taylor. Fifth place in the X30 Pro Senior main event to Alessandro DeTulio, along with a cool $750. Fourth place in the X3 Senior Pro main event, along with a nice $1,000 payday, and his return to the seat, Justin Ataconis. Third place here, and while we didn't get to talk to him, so we'll talk to him for a moment, $150 for P3, Joe Turney. And Joe, while we've got you here, before we give you all the awards, let me step on down here. The only one in our top 5 we hadn't chat with. We checked all of our winners, talked to you. What a final lap, what a race. We'll keep it quick for everybody else, but from your end, what a main.
Yeah, great race. It was pretty tense. Like, for 20 laps, I couldn't get near to him. Then I was able to make a move, but then on the last lap, he caught me asleep, so fair play.
Fair enough here. Still a big payday for you. Congrats on the good run. We'll let Joe get back up onto the box. P3 here in $1,250. Joe Turney moving up to P2 here in the X30 Pro main event. What a weekend to finally get himself with a really good ending. It is second place, along with $2,500 to Paulie Massimino. And before we get to the winner, we've got a couple of special awards we want to bring up here. A brand new award for the IAME Grand National Championship is our Tuner of the Weekend. And this weekend, I think that one is a well-deserved one. It's $1,000 cash. Roman Haynes, come on up here, Roman. I know he's running. There he is. Roman, you got to go on camera. I know you weren't planning on it. He's got his shirt off. You can tell he's been working. Roman, $1,000 cash. You can see the hands are dirty. But, hey, man, awesome stuff. Awesome, Roman. Anything you'd like to say as mechanic in the full mechanic gear, obviously?
I'm glad he fucking won. I'd have to take a loan out to pay for this shit.
Good thing we're on pay-per-view. Thanks, Roman. With Roman Haynes as well, we have one more thing we'd like to award here. First up, let's give it up for our main event winner, $5,000 to Dalton Haynes. And Dalton, actually, before we do the podium, we've got one more prize. You got $5,000, and you already got a couple grand earlier. Kart Republic North America saw you guys working hard and saw, well, the go-kart, it looked a little old. They new Kart Republic frame for you and your brother that we would like to give to you, courtesy of Kart Republic North America. Yeah, I am serious. A new frame, $5,000, $1,000 to your brother's mechanic of the weekend, and an engine. Got a whole go-kart ready for you to go race again, Dalton. You ready?
Hell yeah.
All right, how about it? Get up on the box, buddy. You got a lot of prizes. We're going to give him the trophy, the check, the go-kart somewhere in the frame as we stand. And ladies and gentlemen, what an X30 Pro main. Give it up for your Grand National Championship podium. All right, fellas, come on down here. Once the photos keep going, we still got a few more pictures going. All right, I think everybody's got all theirs. We'll get one close-up. You guys are good to help. Come on down. Dalton, your hands are full. Your legs are shaking coming down. Fell out of range for a moment. Now we're good. One more time. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Roman did an amazing job this weekend. Me and him fight a lot, but at the end of the day, we come together and make a fast go-kart, and we were rolling this weekend. I had a horrible qualifying. I was qualified 14th, came to the final, came through, but I'd like to thank Watts Race Paint, BBS Race Engines, Kart Chaser, We Can All Race, my dad, Roland Haynes, my mom, yeah, Kart Sport, thank you, and yeah, great weekend.
Yeah, how about that? An extra go-kart, an extra engine, an extra $1,000 as well. I'm sure that goes a long way for you guys.
Absolutely.
All right, that's Dalton Haynes, our main event winner. Ladies and gentlemen, this signs off our broadcast. That does it for the IAME Grand National Championship. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next year.